for. Didn't think for a second they were going to knock him out. Jason Tatum did play. Jaylen Brown did not play. A little disappointed that I didn't get to see the tandem. Kristaps Porzingis had a decent night, but couldn't come up with one steal I needed. Let me tell you this. I learned this.
Why didn't you take some chicken tenders down to Kristaps? Because he looks like
I was about to start winging him down on the court at him. Get a steal!
Oh, I was talking about he needs to eat some, but yeah.
He is a skinny dude, bro. Skinny dude. There were, 16 of us in the box, and your boy talked everybody in the box into throwing some bets down. It's legal in North Carolina now. You can bet on sports in North Carolina. So everybody in the box downloading sports betting apps, everybody in the box building parlays. I put together a 6-legger that was like 76-1, and included as my final leg was Kristaps Porzingis, 1 steal. 1 steal, over and under, 0.5 steals I needed, 1 steal. They rolled Grant out there as a big man. He's 6'7". Porzingis is 9'12". I'm like, 1 steal. They try to force it into the paint. Porzingis tips one to the air and gets a steal. 1 steal. This thing's going to cash. I hit 5 out of 6 legs. Porzingis did not get me my steal I needed. I was infuriated. Then yesterday, got to head to the garage of Spire Motorsports. Of course, they roll out not just friend of the show, Corey LaJoy. How you doing, Big Daddy? Carson Hocevar drives for that team. They also run a number of trucks in the truck series. Incredible. I was a very, very happy redneck yesterday. Got to go in the garage. It was very cool, Lonzo. They showed us, they took us around like the facilities themselves. They showed us like the conference rooms. They showed us the data analytics room where they plug all the stuff in the computers from the cars, and they like sit there and tinker. They're like, okay, if we drop this down a quarter of an inch, we feel like we could pick up 3 miles an hour here. Like, it was unbelievable.
Well, how low is too low, though? Did they talk about the illegality?
They did.
We can go down here, but not this far.
Not only did they, but this was insane. They have what they call a Hawkeye system, right? And it is a series of huge precision cameras in a ring, and they park the car in the middle of it. And what this thing does is it uses a combination of cameras and lasers to measure every surface of the car, underneath, on top, left, right, front, back. And then it projects a 3D model into a computer, and then it tells you to the like 10th of a millimeter the measurements of this vehicle, so that they can go in there and tinker. And the guy's like, yeah, if we get in here and we find out that it can tell us that there is a pockmark in the hood of the car, right? It can tell us that there's where maybe like a rock popped up and hit it or something, or if it was in transferred, somebody, their keys. He kind of made fun of me because I dangle my keys off my belt. He's like, if one of the guys has their keys and it hits the side of the car and it just leaves the slightest scratch, this camera is so laser precise, it can actually show you the size of the scratch on the side, so that we can get that buffed out. Because that any aerodynamic change over 500 miles, it takes a 1/10 of a second off over the span of 500 miles. That's enough to lose the race, right? It was unbelievable. So they showed us that. They took us into the back room. So this was something I did not know.
So not the secret back room.
Secret back room.
Is it the secret?
They took us everywhere in this facility. So they took us in the back room, and I know obviously that car chassis and shells get reused over the course of the season, but apparently you basically have 4 for a charter, and you have to rotate. So every time a car goes to a track and gets messed up, they have to take it apart, deconstruct the entire car, fix everything that needs fixing, clean everything that needs cleaning, and then rebuild that car, because that car is running again 4 weeks later, one way or the other. So they brought in the car that Corey LaJoy was running last week in the Virginia race when it rained a bunch and they had to like alternate, and there was some they brought us back, and we actually got to see not just the dinged up car, but the dinged up car in the process of being deconstructed to be rebuilt. I'd never seen that before. And so they had the shell off the rig. So I got to see what the chassis of the car looks like, which is not something most people get to see. Got to see what the chassis looks like. got to look up under the car, got to like check out the car on an intimate level. It was the coolest thing. And then as we were leaving, out come Carson and Corey. And they walked over. Corey, I will say this. Corey's been on the show the last couple of years, but he's been in the studio. The last time he was in the studio was 2 years ago. So I haven't seen him in person in a couple of years. Saw him at the Swamp Rapids game that night, but it was kind of in passing. He walked up, started shaking hands. He walks over to me. I'm like, how you doing, Big Daddy? And he didn't put two and two. Obviously, why would he? You know, like he didn't put two and two together. But he looks at me and I'm like, all right, I just realized that sounds real funny without telling him what happened. I'm the guy that does the radio down in Greenville. He goes, oh, yeah, for sure. He remembered that. And I said, you were on the show a couple of months ago. And when we interviewed you, I said, I gave you the intro and you said, how you doing, Big Daddy? I said, my producer clipped that. Now we play that throughout the show every day. He started laughing and he goes, I remember that. Your intro got me gassed. That's why I was so pumped to start that interview. And I'm like, great. So friend of the show, Corey LaJoy was there. Now that I have told you about all the good stuff, and I'll talk more about it later on in the show because I learned a bunch of stuff. Even as a NASCAR guy, I learned a bunch of stuff I did not know. And it was very cool.
Did you get to use the drill thing, though?
No, we did not get to do any pit crew stuff. I was real disappointed. I will tell you the biggest disappointment, and then I'll tell you the second biggest disappointment, and then I'll tell you the biggest disappointment. They brought us onto the hauler, the big semi-truck that totes the cars to the races and back. They gave us a tour of the whole garage, and then they brought us into the hauler, which you see them like at races whenever they're interviewing drivers, you know, the camera looks in, you can see in the hauler, but I've never gotten to go in one. So they brought me in the hauler. They brought all of us in the hauler up to and including up into the top. There's a compartment that sits right behind the driver. And it's basically like it's like a war room for the team. During races, the driver and the crew chief can go in there. There's a billion computers. They can run all the analytics and the numbers. Then driver gives the feedback. They can change the car. It's real intense. Like it's a huge operation. And as we're in the trailer, you know, because the sponsorships are different from race to race. So the cars might have different paint schemes and the crews always have crew outfits that match the outfit that matches the car livery for that race. And so I also got to see them put that on. They were actually putting this week's paint scheme on the shell of the car, which it's not paint anymore, Lonzo. It's like a big vinyl graphic roll that they have to meld to the car. So I'm watching like 6 people quite literally apply the paint scheme that we're going to see on the race this weekend. That's wild.
I think that's the most interesting thing you said so far, because everyone assumes, I believe, that it's paint,
right?
Yeah.
So they still paint the trucks, and they actually took us in the body shop where we got to watch one of the trucks getting painted. But the car, it's a wrap. And I knew it was a wrap, but I assumed it was kind of like, it's one big ass wrap that they form mold to the car.
Like the station vehicles out there, how they're wrapped.
But it's one big piece, not like it's wild. Anyway, they bring us in the hauler, and because they are putting a new wrap with a new scheme on Corey's car this week, obviously they had to get new gear for the pit crew. And that includes these really dope, like, varsity leather jackets that have the new sponsors and everything on it. So they bring us in the hauler, Zoe, and there's a stack this tall of just the dopest NASCAR jackets you've ever seen, matched to this week's paint scheme, which is hot pink start to finish on the car. And the jackets all match this. And the guy's giving us a tour, and I'm looking at the stack of jackets, and I look at him, and I look at the stack of jackets, and I look at him, and the guy who's giving us a phenomenal guy, I think his name was Grant, phenomenal guy. He looks at me and he goes, what are you, extra large? And I'm like, get out. Get out. This will be my favorite piece of merch if he's going to give me a jacket. He goes, what are you, an extra large? And I look down at the stack and I'm like, yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, good, T-shirts are up front. I was like, you son of a biscuit. I thought I was about to walk out of here with a pit crew jacket. And this dude saw exactly what was in my eyes. I'd have worn that jacket for a month and a half, never taken it off. It was great. He goes, what are you, extra large? Yeah. He goes, cool. T-shirts are in the front.
How much do you think those jackets cost? They're
freaking lot.
They're not going to give that away.
Few hundred minimum for one of those. That's a crew pit leather jacket. I got super hyped for just a minute. I'm like, my man is about to make my whole freaking week. Nope. Just screwed with me because it's funny.
He's now my hero.
All right. And last story, then we'll take a break. And I do have a metric buttload of sports to talk about today. But last story I'm going to tell you. we're getting to the end of the tour, right? We've done the whole garage. We did the truck side. We did the cup side. They took us in the engine room. They let us meet the engine mechanic. I'll give you $1 if you can guess his name. It's an engine mechanic. What else do they call this guy?
Billy Bob.
Close. Rooster.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yep.
All right. That
He
works.
walks over. He's like, this is our head engine mechanic, Rooster. And I just looked at Jack, and Jack looked at me, and we're both like, yep, that checks out. 100%. Got to have a guy named Rooster.
Did he look like a rooster, though?
No, he was just this probably in his early 60s, skinny mechanic looking dude. Like, if you pulled into your local mechanic shop and this guy came out and said, hey, need new muffler on the car, you'd
That's
be
what I
like,
mean.
I trust you, Rooster.
Dirty rag hanging
dude.
out the back of the.
He's Rooster. Whatever you see when I say Rooster,
Okay.
that's what that guy looked like.
All right.
Whatever you see when I say Rooster was the mechanic, that's what this guy looked like. So do this whole thing, and they finally take us back into the front, which is what they call the showroom. And in the showroom, they have model cars, like just the body of the car with the seat in it, so you can kind of get a feel for the car. And then they have some of the trucks and cars that they've used in years past that they've won races with. So he walks us over to the model car, which is a legitimate NASCAR. They just took all the engine and everything out of it. And he goes, final surprise. Anybody want to get in the car? You're damn right. You are damn right.
Ain't no way you fit in that car.
So, don't ruin my story. So, a couple of the girls from the group, they climb in the car. Jack climbs in the car. Everybody's climbing in the car. And I'm like, all right, I know what's coming. It's my turn. I'm like, this is going to be a fight. This is going to be a fight for my life to fit in this car. And I knew this more than ever because when they took us in the back, the first thing we saw was this week's Cup car. Like the car Corey's going to drive in the race this weekend. And they let us pop our head in and look. They showed us the control box where all the electronics are, where the shifter is. This thing this thing's ready to race because it leaves today to go up to the track. So last night was the final inspections and systems check and all that. And so I looked in and I'm like, I know these cars are small on the inside. I had no damn idea how much room there wasn't in these things. The seat, Zoe, I'm not kidding you. The seat's this wide. When Corey, who you've met this guy,
why don't you describe that for the radio? So it's about 2 feet.
However wide you think my shoulders are, it's about 2-3 inches narrower than that, right?
So bigger than your butt.
Yes.
Okay.
The seat is narrower than my ass by a lot, right? So the seat, I'm not kidding you, it's yay wide. And when these guys go in, the steering column, they take the wheel off. The steering column sticks out, but the steering column is solid. It is mounted to the car. That thing doesn't move. And it sticks out to about here, about 7 inches from your chest. And then they click the wheel on, which if you watch a race, you'll see these guys when they're driving, their hands are compact, right? They're like, their elbows are bent in. It's not like your Sunday cruise where you got that arm all the way out. This steering wheel's in your chest.
Well, because of gravity and friction and so many other things. That's why it doesn't
because of how much crap they got to put in this car.
It also doesn't look smooth when they're driving.
Oh,
so everything you're saying makes sense. You don't want anything that moves in there.
So the steering column doesn't move. The only thing that does is the wheel comes off, which it has to, because if the wheel was on, ain't nobody fitting in that thing, right? So they pop the wheel off. And when I put my head into the Cup car, I'm like, my dream of being a NASCAR driver died on that spot. I'm like, my big ass could lose 70 pounds and I still wouldn't fit in that thing. Okay. So we go back out to the lobby. Guys like, hey, anybody want to sit in the car? I'm like, yeah, obviously I have never wanted anything more in my life than to sit in a bona fide. This was a car that used to race that they took it apart. Bona fide Cup car. I'm like, absolutely. So everybody goes in, everybody's getting their pictures. And he's like, all right, big boy. And the guy looks me dead in the face and he goes, good luck. I was like, oh, cool. So
right then you could have bowed out. You could have said, you know what? I know that I can't fit.
Hell to the no. There's no chance. I know this is going to be a fight for my freaking life, but there is nothing stopping me. So I walk up to the car, put the right leg over, put the left leg over, swing around. He goes, okay. Cause like I've watched NASCAR my whole life. I know how to get it. I know how to get in the car. I don't know that I can. So I swing the leg.
If you watch Dukes of Hazzard, you know how to get in that car.
Swing the right leg, swing the left leg, and then you kind of lean back and slide in, right? So I go to slide in, and my left knee slams the steering column. Like slams the steering
Rob,
column.
have you ever seen me get in my car or get out of my car?
Dude, I don't know how to tell you how much less room there is.
I'm just saying that's how I have to get in and out of my car. So yeah.
Slam the left knee into the steering column. I mean, hard. And that thing, again, it is a steel freaking rod. Okay.
You should have been a little more careful on this.
There's no room. There's no careful to this. You just got to go. And that's what the dude said. He's like, you just got to get your legs down into the well. And then you just got to kind of let gravity pull you down into the seat. I'm like, all right. So I kind of like back out. I move the left leg. I go to slide back in. As I do, the right knee bumps all the way over into like where the center console will be. There's a big gear. There's a big box, and that's where all the electronics sit, like your engine and your ignition and all that. My right knee hits that. I'm like, all right, let me try again. I pull back out, go in for attempt number 3. This time I got the left leg contorted, the right leg turned in. I look like I got the damn inward chicken legs trying to slide into this thing, and I go to slide down. My left knee now hits the dashboard of the car friggin' hard, okay? And at this point, my ass is in the car. My back is across the window, right? And I am half in, half out of the car, and I realize there is no more room. There's nowhere for me to like wiggle in because I thought, all right, just wiggle in. Getting out of this car, they may have to cut this SOB open to get me out, but I'm getting in this car. I realize there's no more room. There's nowhere to go. So I'm like, all right, let me try again. And I go to get out. I got my hands pressed on the window. Bro, I can't get out. I am wedged in. It's like a freaking Willy Wonka death trap lodged in. So I'm just like squirming. Everybody's laughing. I'm like, well, this is it. I finally am able to like force myself out. I'm going to tell you, I think I ripped a tricep pushing myself out because there is nobody. I've always said so. The biggest motivation for a guy like me is when someone says you can't. That is not true anymore. You know what the biggest motivation for me is? Friggin' humiliation. That's what it is.
Yeah, that'll do it. That will definitely do it.
I Schwarzeneggered myself out of this car. I went one more time, and the guy looks at me and he goes, no disrespect, boy, I don't think it's going to happen. I was like, yep, you're right. So what did I do? I sat on the window of the car. I let somebody take a picture. You can see in my face just the mild compromise between rage and depression that my dream of sitting in a NASCAR stock car died in that moment. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'd rather be asked to walk naked around the Haywood Mall than do that in public again. And here's the worst part. You know what the first thing I did was? I grabbed my phone. What did I Google? Tallest NASCAR driver. Austin Cindric, 6'2". I go, okay, I'm off the hook. The tallest NASCAR driver is a full inch shorter than me, and all I needed was another inch, and I'd have fit. And then Carson Hocevar walks over. This skinny son of a is like 6'6", and he slides right in. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me, dude. So anyway, if you've ever wanted to see Rob Brown humiliated publicly, you didn't get to see it, but you got your wish yesterday because I look like a butthole in public. It sucked.
They might have actually saw when you were trying to slide in the car.
Oh, there's pictures of it on my phone. Scratch that. There were pictures of it on my phone. There is no evidence that this moment in my life happened except for whoever took pictures of it from the team. I owe the Swamp Rabbits whatever forever so that those pictures never see the light of freaking day. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Those are ended up on the screen during the Rabbits game. And if they're big and for everyone to see.
It was so the guy looks at me and he's like, I figured. He said, it's not because you're big. He goes, it's just there's not room in there. He goes, you'll notice this is what he said to me. You'll notice there's no more fat NASCAR drivers. There used to be fat NASCAR drivers. He goes, there's no more fat NASCAR drivers because it used to be a car, right? The seats used to be a car. Even after they modded out the stock cars, it used to be a car. And it's not a real car anymore. He goes, that's why there's no more fat NASCAR drivers because they cannot fit with all the stuff we've had to throw in the car.
this whole time. Right? I go, hey, Leo. Leo? That wasn't it? No, that is. Well, I feel bad now. She responds to it. You've been calling her Leo.
So the EO Sky has been calling her Leo Sky. It's Otis.
Who is that saying?
Otis.
Oh.
How long has this been going on? Oh, very years. I go, hey, Leo, how are you? Leo?
Oh, I hear it now.
You've never seen her name? She goes, Otis. Yeah. Okay.
And that's Big E talking to him, and Almost is in there too. The whole time Tozawa is just eating. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't do anything. He will look every once in a while at them. It's just he's eating chicken wings.
Incredible.
There was and I don't know if it's happened yet, an eating contest between Otis and Omos.
I'm going Almost. Underdog win. Even at 7'4".
He's got a lot further for it to go
Correct.
down. Yeah. And Otis is big, but if you've watched him work out, a lot of that
strong
is,
as hell.
yeah, that's bulk from
Of all the big, strong boys, he might be the biggest, strongest boy.
Starting Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on your home for the Final Four and the National Championship game, The Fan, Upstate.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make The Fan up.
Talk more about the 96% of my day that was awesome and the 4% of my day that sucked yesterday. Sucked so bad. So bad. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. You know what? I have just decided that while it is Wednesday, my dudes, it's Friday/Monday. It's like all the best and worst days wrapped up. You know what it is. Alonzo knows what it is. Most of you know what it is. If you listen to the show, you know what it is. My people out there. It is WrestleMania week. And, you know, this is going to be the week above all weeks all year long where we get the most text, tweets, emails, and phone calls from people going, y'all know wrestling's not real, right? Yes, it's a television show like everything else. And there has been, was, continues to be a lot of folks out there that hit me with the nobody likes wrestling stuff, right? Nobody likes it. Nobody cares about it, despite the fact that, you know, coming up on Saturday and Sunday, 2 nights back to back, there's going to be 120,000 people crammed into a football stadium to watch, and they're going to do $1 billion in business, yada, yada, yada. I get told constantly, Lonzo and I have made a running joke for years about how, you know, no real men don't like wrestling.
Well, that's because we were told by someone who's in Michigan now. But
no. Diesel's still here too.
Well, he is.
Okay.
He is. But that Michigan man is going to find out that it's not just the South that watches wrestling.
So John Kruk, former Philadelphia Philly,
also
guy.
a guy who could not fit in NASCAR.
Not even close. All right. John Kruk.
He who looked at Randy Johnson and said, nope.
Yep. John Kruk, noted baseball man, and now color commenter for Philadelphia Phillies games. Well, WrestleMania is where this weekend?
That would be Philadelphia,
That
Rob.
would be the city of brotherly love. John Kruk was calling a Phillies game, and who stops by the box because nobody likes wrestling? But, of course, the New Day's own, very own Kofi Kingston. Kingston's in the box with John Kruk. And John Kruk said on a nationally broadcasted Philadelphia Phillies game, John Kruk said,
100-something days or something like that. It's almost it's a historical reign.
Out
You got to
with the
appreciate
old and
that.
in with the new.
You're amazing. You are amazing.
He's on it, man.
I love it.
He's on it.
I love it. It's you know, if let's put it this way: if it was a World Series game, if the Phillies aren't participating and wrestling was on, I'm watching wrestling.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
John Kruk, noted wrestling / baseball guy. And I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, it's promotional, right? Like WrestleMania is there. Obviously, they probably paid to get Kofi on the broadcast to sell some tickets to Phillies fans, get people excited. Maybe John's just the marketing guy. Heck, I think everybody in this industry at some point or another has had to shill for something that they don't really like, know about, care about. They just get the directive. This is what you're doing on the air today. Talk about this thing as if it's the best thing ever and you don't care at all. And then I kept paying attention. And in a moment that I know Lonzo's going to love, they got here.
We got a tag match, ladder match. The Usos, who are twin brothers, going up against each other in a match. It's epic proportions. Yeet versus no yeet. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Oh,
that's
you missed it.
That's the proof.
He adds one more emphasized yeet right at the end. Noted man, John Kruk.
Well, it's not. To know it, you also have to throw in the no yeet, and
hit him with the yeet, no yeet in the box. I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you all now. Hey, we're probably not as much today. But tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's Fight Club. You know what Fight Club is on WrestleMania week. And I'm also going to go ahead and give you the preemptive 2-day early window. We're going to talk a lot of wrestling on Friday, too. It's WrestleMania weekend, my dude.
And Monday.
And Monday.
Yes.
For sure.
Because we
can't a lot of Fallout Monday.
Cannot wait till Thursday to talk about what happens in WrestleMania.
Correct.
Especially if things don't go the way that they should go.
Correct.
Yes.
Real excited. So I'm giving you the window. Not going to be a ton of it today. We may dabble in it a little here and there today. Tomorrow, WrestleMania day. Friday, we're going to get deep into it. Monday, we're going to get deep into it. And then we'll return to our ordinarily scheduled like 3 to 4 wrestling references a day show. But I'm just going to warn you all, the window's open for WrestleMania stuff as of now. All right, let's run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute, not only does Rob Brown get us back on the clock because I'm talented and this is what I do, is get us way off the clock and then get back on it and pretend like it's an accomplishment. But on the flip side, I don't know if you watched, I don't know if you were paying attention, but there was a very large women's basketball game that took place a couple of days ago. There was a very well attended, and now we know very well viewed basketball game between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, between the LSU Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes, that took place, and now we have numbers. So where does it rank in the all-time women's game? Oh, we're talking about it next. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate, baby. Hey, hey, hey.
Had a long conversation with Twisted Todd yesterday about WrestleMania.
Did you?
Yeah. I don't recall having wrestling conversations with Twisted Todd before.
I don't think I've ever talked wrestling with Todd.
He
knew it? Like he was...
Yeah, he knew. He's the one that started the conversation and carried the conversation.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know Todd was a wrestler.
Oh, he cannot wait for this weekend. Spartans. Sorry about the shaky start on the stream, but Rob was having internet problems. But I think we're good now. I think so. Take some extra time. I love Bill Brooks doing traffic because when he starts doing traffic, I stop what I'm doing. I'm listening. I mean, that's what a unique voice does. It makes you listen to it. And maybe traffic plays and you don't hear the traffic usually because you hear it, but I hear everything he says, which is just awesome. So I started watching the Bray Wyatt thing. I only made it through probably almost half of it, and then I had to stop for a while. I mean, because it's just it's dude. I mean, it's been excellent so far.
We've got it and the Roman one both saved.
Ooh. According to, it's not confirmed, according to one website, in an interview with News Nation, Ronda Rousey names Drew Gulak as in an incident where he grabbed a string of her sweatpants.
Well, bye, Drew. The world is a vampire.
I mentioned Dukes of Hazzard. Now I got a bunch of Dukes of Hazzard stuff just showing up. Yeah, that's just proof, absolute proof.
Big brother.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you saw a Dukes of Hazzard show up on your feed? And then suddenly there's a General Lee. Like, okay. Sorry, all the Ronda Rousey visibility lately just has me believing it's a work. I mean, the thing she's saying is absolutely true, but she's going to show up somewhere. I know she's been wrestling independent. I don't know that it's going real well, but
she shows up, cost Becky. Now you got a Becky Ronda run back, and you get to keep the strap on Rhea a little longer.
There's always surprises at WrestleMania. She did say that she wished she worked under the new regime.
Yeah.
She said that a couple of times. We'll talk about this Thursday, but the big rumor, which is not going to happen, is that MJF shows up to help Cody.
And sometimes wrestling fans get carried away.
Haven't seen him in a while. His contract was supposedly up. He may have started the rumor himself. Who knows? To try to get more money. I hope it happens just so you'll be wrong.
I mean, wild if it does.
Yeah.
Because the door's open if it does.
Yeah.
That,
No.
I
mean,
I can't imagine. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. LSU and Iowa played a little women's shooty hoop this week, Monday night, in an Elite Eight matchup.
Management seemed to be very pleased about it. Saw some posts.
I ain't gonna doubt that.
Especially the big manager downstairs.
Yeah, big Hawkeye guy. And as are most of us here at the station, I won't speak for everyone. I will speak for most of them. Big Caitlin Clark stands for multiple reasons. Number one, she is what we in the business call a hooper.
Can't wait to see South Carolina take her down.
We'll see. We're going to talk about
So
that.
you said most of us. I would not be. I want to see the hype go up against Dawn Staley, who, from what I understand, was on Wire to Wire
She
yesterday.
sure was.
Yes.
She
I've had
sure was.
I've had the opportunity to participate in an interview with her before, and
Dawn's
she's
great.
she is very
Dawn's
awesome.
great.
Yes.
I saw after their Elite Eight win, when they got the trophy that said they go to the Final Four, first thing she does, and apparently this is going to become a tradition, she brings it directly to the band and the cheerleaders that play for this team. That's incredible to me, because those people make the environment around the game. So anyway, if you missed that interview, I'm sure Cole and Diesel have it posted on the website at thefanupstate.com. Dawn Staley on Wire to Wire with Cole B and the Big D yesterday here on the show. So, all Caitlin Clark, most of us Caitlin Clark stands, because she is indeed an absolute hooper for sure, but also because, from at least my perspective behind this here microphone, anybody who draws to the world of sports is good for sports. I don't care what sport it is. Anybody who draws to sport is good for sport. And that is Caitlin Clark. I will also say that is Angel Reese, and the drama between Iowa and LSU for the past year, post the "you can't see me" versus "this is my ring finger and it will soon be adorned" drama between Reese and Clark. Now, last week before this game tipped, Angel Reese, I thought, had a very cool moment on the mic where she said, look, it's not personal. I don't hate her. She don't hate me. But when we step between the lines, we ain't friends. Yeah, no, of course not. When you step between the lines, you ain't friends. If I beat you, you go home for good. And if you beat me, I go home for good. I'm not here to be your bud. I'm not here to be your pal. I'm not here to be your guy. I'm here to beat you and send you home. And she said, look, it's not personal. I don't hate her. She don't hate me. There's no beef here. But for 40 minutes, we are trying to end each other's seasons. We are trying to, at our core, rip away each other's hopes and dreams. Think about that. These gals on two of the best basketball teams in America enter this tournament with one goal. All of them. Become the national champions. And whoever wins that rivalry, the other can't do that. That is the one objective. So, of course, when I step between the lines, you might be my totes BFF away from the game. But when we're between the stripes, I don't like you. I want to end you. I want to rip your hopes and dreams away from you. And even the loving, cuddly Rob Brown knows when you step in the ring, you come for blood and nothing else. That's the game. That's how competition works. And I don't listen. There are people in this industry, guys that work at other stations in this area, that away from the radio mic, great dudes. Love them. Every time we see each other at different events.
Come on.
I'm
Come
dead
on.
serious.
Radio people are divas, and they're all jerks.
No, they're not.
Okay.
We do events around the year. And because we're from the same region, when we do, say, ACC Media Days, there's another station here in town. It's very Orange specific. And the guys that host on that, I'm dudes with all of them. Fist bumps, handshakes, how you been? How you doing? How's the mom and them? We're all good. But you also better believe that when we are covering, say, ACC Media Day, and when they put us at two tables next to each other, Rob Brown, during the 4 hours that we're on, is bringing every damn thing he's got. So if there is somebody, hypothetically, that is standing between table A and table B, listening to both shows, I want them to walk away going, that guy's better. That guy right there is better. That's the show I would listen to.
Or that guy's louder. I mean, they might say that.
They might, but I want them to say that guy's better. When we are on, it is a competition, and I want this show to be the best show in this time slot. I would, for the record, and it's not just here. The day that Diesel and Cole got the show, the three of us stood in this room, in this very studio, and had a conversation in which we both said, my goal is to have more listeners in the morning slot than you have in the drive slot. That's the goal. And your goal, I told them, your goal had better be to have more. Now, the goal for all of us is to make sure that the
let me
station...
echo management here and say same team. I mean,
Let me finish the thought.
I
agree.
I just,
The goal for
I wasn't
shows,
included in the conversation there, so when the three of you stood here, so I thought I'd insert myself here.
The goal for both shows is to take the Fan Upstate and turn it into the dominant sports talk radio station in the market, for sure. But the way that we do that is by both shows to compete against each other to be the flagship show on the station. And we should both be pushing each other to be better.
I agree with that part, but I don't agree with one thing you just said. We are the sports station in this area.
Today?
No, every day.
Lonzo, championship belt.
You plan on letting down? Because I don't. I mean,
does that my man, Michael Jordan never planned on losing a game, but he loses games.
My 3% contribution to the station is going to be amazing.
Okay, so you're killing hypotheticals on the first hour. I respect it. The gimmick is real. Lonzo lives the kayfabe life.
Well, I mean, you made me feel lesser then. So I have to.
I was here at 5 p.m. that day, making sure their show was good. So, point here is the eye of a champion, the eye of the tiger, means you understand. Even Gretzky lost. Even Jordan lost. Muhammad Ali lost. Mike Tyson lost. The greats all lose. And the goal is to drive to be the best. So Angel Reese saying that, I had a lot of respect for it. A lot of respect for it. And I understand what she's saying. She's absolutely right. And because of that drama, that we talk about it all the time. There are two things that keep people involved in the world of sports: competition and drama. Those are the two things. You tune in either because you know the competition's going to be elite, or you tune in because the drama's so high that you have to just see what happens. Over 12 million people on average watching LSU Iowa. It was the most viewed women's basketball game of all time. And people are going to go, yeah, Rob, most viewed women's basketball game. All right, let's put some numbers on that. Iowa LSU outdrew all but one of the 5 games in last year's NBA Finals. Iowa LSU outdrew the clinching game of last year's World Series. That's America's pastime. This Elite 8 game outdrew the World Series ender. Viewership surpassed the 11.84 million who watched the 83 NCAA championship between Southern Cal and Louisiana Tech, a game that, by the way, Kim Mulkey played for. Cheryl Miller was playing for USC at that time. Trojans won that 64-58. It was also the most watched men's or women's college basketball game ever on ESPN, more than doubling the prior largest audience, men's or women's. According to ESPN, the 2002 championship game between UConn and Oklahoma had the old market 5.68 million. This more than doubled it. ESPN's most watched men's game was the 2008 regular season matchup between Duke and North Carolina, drew 5.61. This more than doubled it. Only one NCAA tournament on the men's side this year had bigger viewership: NC State's win over Duke on Sunday in the Elite 8, 15.1 million. According to Sports Media Watch, it was the most viewed basketball game on ESPN since Game 7 of the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, when the Cavaliers knocked off the Boston Celtics. That averaged 13.6 mil. It was less than a mil away from the most watched ESPN basketball game of all time. It was the second most watched college game in ESPN history at 6.7 mil. ABC had regional finals. This was the UConn 80-73 win over USC, the second most watched college game in ESPN history. My dudes, the two of the, I think, what is that, 3 most watched college basketball games on ESPN, 2 out of the 3 top most watched are women's games. It's elevated. It's not, is it elevating? It is elevated. It is officially elevated to the point that the NCAA yesterday said that they are now looking at making massive changes to the women's game. We had a lot of problems this year. The first round all being hosted by individual campuses. The Gonzaga round up in Spokane. because of a lack of hotel availability, and nobody thought maybe we should book some hotel rooms earlier, the teams playing in Gonzaga, with the exception of Gonzaga, were all staying 30 miles away from the campus where the games were being played. That means on game day, they had to get on a bus and drive over 30 miles to get to the gym. We had Utah's women's basketball team that were on multiple occasions subjected to people in random pickup trucks shouting sexist and racist things at them. And there was nobody there to make it stop. We had, of course, the three-point line controversy where they're playing on a gym where they can't even get the lines on the floor right. The floor, the court, the one thing that is supposed to be equal between teams. At the end of the day, when you step on the court, everything else is level. It's who can beat who. Couldn't get that right. So the NCAA said, after Caitlin Clark and LSU put up one of the most watched sporting events of all time, period, across sports in a game, the NCAA said, oh, we should probably try to get this right. We should probably create. I'm not asking for it to be elevated to the men's Final Four status. I'm just saying maybe don't have teams staying 30 miles away from the gym they're playing in. Maybe get them some decent hotel rooms. Maybe put them in a spot where people aren't yelling awful things at them. Maybe get the floor of a basketball gym right. How hard is this? And it took Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, LSU, and Iowa to have the NCAA say, yeah, we'll do the bare minimum next year. We'll do the bare minimum next year. I mean, I'm glad it happened. Sucks it took this long. But Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, bona fide megastars at this point. You know who else is a bona fide, certified, genuine megastar? The great one.
You know, all that stuff was amazing, but this ain't Iowa. Go Gamecocks.
Yeah!
The Clemson Tiger baseball team took down USC Upstate 11-1 at Ford Field yesterday. Cam Canarella, Alden Mathis, and Jacob Jarrell all went 5 innings, giving up just 3 and 1 earned run, earning the win. Clemson will be on the road for a 3-game series at Notre Dame starting Friday afternoon. Philadelphia 76ers star Joel Embiid made an unexpected return from a meniscus injury in a 109-105 victory over the Thunder last night. Embiid finished the night with 24 points, 6 boards, 7 assists, and 3 steals. The 76ers are now 27-8 when Embiid plays and 14-27 without him, and sitting in a play-in spot in the East. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, Wire to Wire. Macedonia.
help take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Chris also laughed at my struggle to get into a car.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I know I complain about my kids, but then there's moments like this.
Oh,
I know.
Adorable.
And it,
Adorable. That's what I look like after a bender.
Is that squishy?
yeah,
Squishies are comfortable, man.
What's a squishy?
You never.
Squishmallow,
They're just they can be animals or
Like a stuffed
anything.
animal?
Yeah, but they have a different feel to them. They're just I
they
mean
do, yeah, they're plush. Basically, they're just plush toys.
Like a memory foam stuffed animal?
It's a cross. It's
Kind of,
like a
yeah.
cross between a stuffed animal and a pillow.
Because obviously I'm the one in the room that doesn't have kids.
Right, right.
but I don't know what the hell that is.
I mean I don't either anymore.
Yeah.
But my wife loves them and they're like on the couch
Okay,
and
so
they're
I've-
better than a pillow.
I've heard adults having these things.
Yeah, they're better than a pillow.
I also think and Squishmallow is not a bad name. I think they missed. I think they could have done better. Marshmallow.
That seems like it was right there. That seems
See,
like it was
Tracy
right
says Cuddles are better. I don't know name brands. I just look at it and go, and you can. They're like in bins at
Yeah.
Walmart or something. You pick one up and go,
You
oh,
see them
yeah.
at Costco. They got a big bin, and it's
there. They're right by the front.
yeah. Sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes they're like deep in the
Okay.
but, yeah. That thing. Pick one up and hug it.
Just a bunch of dudes in a sports talk radio station talking about Squishmallows.
That's a name brand. I mean, they're just the squishies. They're just there are some that are anime. I got one for my wife that's like a hamster, but it's a giant. They're just comfortable, dude.
I guess I'm gonna have to go find out what the Squishmallows
No.
about.
Get one for the significant other.
She doesn't do stuff like that.
Oh, she will. She will. Trust me, they're
Okay.
comfortable, dude.
I learned something new today. I didn't know this was a thing. I was telling Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall during the break. I was telling him the horror story about trying to get my big behind into a stock car and the fact that in a single moment, my dream of becoming a NASCAR stock car driver died immediately. Died hanging half out the window of a stock car yesterday.
What was hanging halfway out the window?
The top half.
Okay. Are you going to go with that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I was picturing it being the other half.
Texture said, I love those things. I've got 10 of them on my bed. The wife and myself both love. You have 10 of them?
Dude, they're comfortable. I'm telling you. I mean, look, Tracy's got a bunch. It's indescribable if you haven't tried them. And you may think, I bet they have wrestling ones. I bet they do.
I'm going to have to look. Listen, if I can get a Macho Man Randy Savage Squishmallow and they're that comfortable, this is not me being like, oh, me man, me no go stuff. Like, fine, if they're that comfortable and I can get one that fits the decor, fits the theme of the Bro Cave, I'll give it a run. I've never heard that I've heard the term before. I just assumed they were like stuffed animals.
No, they are stuffed animals, but what they're stuffed with makes them extremely comfortable. And for some reason, they always seem cool. And when I don't mean, yo, man, that's cool. I mean, like
Stu Scott, cooler than the other side.
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
cool.
they absolutely do.
I get it. Okay, I learned something new every day. Texter hit me. I've got 10 of them on the bed. You just make your bed out of these things. Okay. Live your best life. I'm here for you. I got your back.
Everywhere you turn, there's comfort. I mean, what's wrong with that?
I definitely have hit the. I know I hit the edge because Monday night after the game, we got back to the hotel room. I was bunked up with one of the guys from the hockey team. We're like laying bed. It's I don't know 2:45 in the morning. Like we're playing bocce ball in a bar in Charlotte till 2:15 a.m. We go back to the hotel, get to the room. It's legitimately 2:45 in the morning. I put my head down and I'm like, I need another pillow. I don't have enough pillow here. I called down to the front office and asked them to bring it. And the guy goes,
no.
Jack goes, so let me get this right. You are going to call down and make the, I'm assuming, lonely person at a hotel front desk at 3 a.m. Then call the person on housekeeping duty to go to the other side of the hotel, get you a pillow, bring it up 14 floors to this room so that you can have a more comfortable experience asleep. And I went, you're damn right.
My first thought would be, this isn't some kind of code. I should word this in the right way.
Nope.
At a hotel, you don't call down and say, I need another pillow. And next thing you know, someone's knocking on your door. I don't know.
I have just hit the point where I don't care anymore. When comfort over everything.
If I know I'm staying in a hotel, I take a pillow with me.
I was going for Charlotte for one night. I was not toting around a bedroom set. Couldn't do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:04 in the morning. You are less than an hour away from getting to work if you've got one of those normal 8 to 5ers. And if you've got one of those normal 8 to 5ers, one of the things that happens legally, you are obligated to receive a certain number of breaks during the day from that 8 to 5er. And if you have one of those breaks coming up, you are, if you're listening to this show, more than likely going to utilize that break to talk sports with your coworkers. So if you're going to take that break and you're going to utilize that break to talk sports with your coworkers, you obviously need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, you need to know these things listed in today's Water Cooler Cheat Sheet. It is the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, with your colleagues, with that guy in HR that you really can't stand. You know who you are, Bill. Nobody likes you. Stop being a narc, man. Point here is you're going to talk sports with somebody, and these are the top 3 sports stories that you're going to need to know. I brought this up just mere moments ago, but it is part of the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet today. That is the potential change to the NCAA women's basketball tournament. It is item number 1. I was off one whole day, Lonzo.
Well,
I forget how everything works.
I needed to navigate somewhere else, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss it.
I get it. You nailed it. That's why you're in charge, and I'm just the pretty face. Potential changes coming to the NCAA women's college basketball tournament. Why? You might ask. It is because yesterday we got numbers dropped. LSU Iowa in the Elite 8 averaged well north of 12 million viewers at any given point in time. It was the most watched basketball game on ESPN since the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals that was not a part of a championship series. It was also a game that outdrew every NBA game in the finals last year, with the exception of the series clinching game. It also outdrew every World Series game, including the World Series clincher from last year. People are locked in. I told you. There are 2 things that we pay attention to in sports. We pay attention to competition. We pay attention to drama. If a game has one of those 2 things, it's going to do numbers. If a game has both of those things, it's going to do big numbers. This game had both of those things. You had 2 of the best basketball teams in women's college basketball. You had the best player in women's college basketball. You had the face of just college basketball, period, all locked up in a very competitive basketball game. And the audience returns prove that I was correct about it. well north of 12 million people. Well, because of that success, the NCAA is looking at changes in the tournament next year. The Women's Basketball Committee was scheduled to revisit their decision to hold the first 2 rounds of the tournament at campus sites for highly ranked teams and to hold its second weekend games in 2 sites rather than 4 after the 2025 championships. Lynn Holtzman is the vice president of women's basketball and said she believes that they have seen enough data about the growth of the sport to consider changes. Holtzman told ESPN yesterday afternoon, quote, given the trajectory of success we've experienced over the last couple of years, I see no reason to wait to start that review. The governance structure has to approve a review, but that is our ask coming out of this championship. I believe that will take place, end quote. Possible changes include a format change for the first rounds that could potentially help avoid logistical problems. I told you about this. The first round site of Gonzaga in the opening 2 rounds of this year's tournament saw a lack of available hotel space, which forced multiple teams competing in the Spokane, Washington region to stay more than 30 miles away from the Gonzaga campus. While in Idaho, members of the Utah basketball team were harassed by men flying Confederate flags in their trucks and yelling racial slurs. The NCAA has decided that they would like to do whatever they can do as the tournament is on track to break viewership and attendance records for the 42-year-old tournament. Holtzman said the NCAA has responded to these, quote, serious issues, end quote, by addressing the problems as quickly as possible. Then, of course, you had the three-point line controversy in Portland, Oregon, where teams played 4 games with one three-point line that was 9 inches shorter than the other. You also had a situation in the game between Chattanooga and NC State when the NCAA discovered that an official had failed to disclose she had a master's degree from Chattanooga and had to be replaced, but it didn't happen until halfway through that game. Last week, Notre Dame All-American Hannah Hidalgo missed several minutes of her team's loss to Oregon State when referees forced her from the game until team trainers removed the nose ring that she had worn all season long and through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. So the NCAA said, this is enough. We've got to stop it. They said they will be making some changes. We will find out if that is accurate. Item number 2. That's on me. I went to it quick.
No. I just saw Logan Paul get hit in the face with a basketball, and I was laughing, and I missed it because of that.
Listen, if you're going to be distracted, that's a good reason for it.
It legitimately is.
Real
I'll send it to you.
Please and thank you. I may just play it on the loop the rest of the show. Steph Curry has been one of the most exciting shooters to watch in the basketball universe for more than a decade now. Caitlin Clark at the college level has been that way for a couple of years now. We all remember during the All-Star game, we had the three-point shooting contest, but there was a secondary three-point shooting contest, a three-point shooting contest that took place between maybe the best shooter to ever grace a basketball floor, Steph Curry, and of course, a sharp shooter in her own right from the WNBA, Sabrina Ionescu, who was close to the level of stardom that Caitlin Clark has achieved in her college basketball days. Well, the NCAA recognizes something that Rob Brown has been saying for a long time. The NBA recognizes something Rob Brown has been saying for a very long time, and that is the fact that gimmicks work. We pay attention to gimmicks. Things catch our attention. It may not hold them for a very long time, but it does catch your attention. Apparently, the NBA is starting to look to its next gimmick. Golf has the match. The Pro Bowl has gone flag football because people seem to be entertained by it. Last year, we had Steph v. Sabrina Ionescu in a three-point shooting contest. Next year, we may expand that because the NBA is
women's slam dunk contest. I guess that's a no.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
What?
Don't be that guy.
They can slam too. It'd probably be just as entertaining as what the men's have been.
Men's has been good. I don't care that you don't know the names in it. The dunks have been good.
Yeah, who's the dude who won last 2 years in a row?
I forgot his name.
Okay.
He's a G League guy.
Yeah, I know.
Again, I'm not saying it's star-studded. I'm saying the Ducks have been good.
Okay, all right.
The Dunks have
I was
also
going
been
to say
good.
the Dunks and the Ducks, yeah.
So, one of the things that they are looking forward to doing next year, according to my guy Shams, Next year's All-Star Weekend is in the Bay Area in San Francisco at Chase Center. Shams is reporting that they are looking to expand the gimmick. You had Steph v. Sabrina. Next year, let's open it up. Steph and Clay versus Sabrina and Caitlin Clark. WNBA, not dumb. They saw the numbers from LSU Iowa on Monday night, and within hours said, no matter how it happens, we got to get her involved next year.
Legitimate question. What if she's not in the WNBA?
She will be, and I'll tell you why I think so. She got the offer from
Big Three, yeah.
From the Big Three League for $5 million to play in 10 games. And for the record, because I know she's listening, she's a big fan of the show. Caitlin, go on, take the money and run. Hoo. That's a big paycheck to play 10 games. Do it, girl. We all got
I'm
your
pretty
back.
upset that we both had the same musical reference.
What
in mind.
what else are you going to use there? You know what I mean? What else are you going to use there? So apparently they will be tailoring that so that if Caitlin Clark does elect to take that money, she still will be able to play in the WNBA season, which is the right way to handle that. Sabrina Ionescu and Caitlin Clark versus Steph Curry and Clay Ingram. I want you to know I will be more jacked up about that than the All-Star game.
You said Clay Ingram. Let me help you out. That's not his name.
Yeah. Klay Thompson is the guy I was talking about. Where did I get Clay Ingram?
I don't know. That's not even. I hate correcting you, but
no,
I mean that one was bad.
Yeah, that one was real bad.
Yeah,
Klay Thompson and Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu and Caitlin Clark. I mean this. I will be more excited about that than the All-Star game. If you let me watch only one of those two things, I will watch that 3-point contest before I watch the All-Star game. One deadly serious. That's a gimmick I can get behind. And the more you have visibility like you had with LSU Iowa, with superstars like Caitlin Clark, with Sabrina Ionescu and what she did by, again, giving a run to the best 3-point shooter in the history of the NBA, now you're adding Caitlin Clark to the mix. Now you're adding a guy in Clay that may or may not be a bit of a liability in that situation. Let's go.
You mean a guy is coming off the bench?
Yeah, he's been really killing it, though. My dude's been putting up like 24, 28 consistently the last week and a half. The Dubs are still probably not making the play-in tournament, which is, I'm assuming if you're Lonzo, hilarious.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought he might be. All right, let's get to item number 3, shall we? I have bounced back and forth on where to go with this. I have bounced back and forth on what I want to be the last story. But I feel like I've got to do this. The New York Football Jets are hoping Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to play football. His Jets tenure lasted, what did we decide? 75 seconds of football time last season? Well, now we know players have gotten their performance checks from last year. Aaron Rodgers, Lonzo earned in performance distribution last year $81.14.
It's about right.
$81.14. Now, of course, obviously, he got his salary and other compensation, but his performance play, $81.14.
I would have thought it'd been at least over 100. You know, I know it's like 1-2 plays. I can't remember how many plays he was in there. It wasn't that. I mean, so wow.
Hey, Aaron, time to pay up for your performance from last year. Can you break 100? Can you break a Benjamin?
So they don't count preseason in there? I mean, you know, okay. All right.
Every NFL player is eligible for a performance-based pay.
In all seriousness, doesn't that sound low? I get he was out.
My man got paid $20.25 for every snap he played last year.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought he'd make more than $20 an hour. I just,
an hour. He got paid $20 for a minute and a half. For the record, $80 for a minute and a half action.
So technically, it would be $80.
That's pretty good.
Bucks an hour, I guess.
That's pretty good.
All right.
My dude got paid $81 for a minute and a half. Now I'm real bad at math. But $81 for every 75 seconds of play, I would take that paycheck today.
Yeah, I'm down. Well, I'll just work a minute and then go home
every day. It'd be great. All right, listen. I know that's not big time news. Tell me you don't tell your friends that around the water cooler and get a chuckle today.
Dude, that is the most interesting thing I've heard so far.
$81.14.
Yes. In the water cooler. I mean, you not being able to fit in the car is still pretty funny, but
I freaking disagree. I have never been so humiliated in my life. I once went through an entire wedding reception without realizing that the seam of my pants was ripped. And I had on, let's say, some comedy undies that night.
okay, as long as you weren't going commando, at least
That would've been
things
real
were
bad.
covered.
No,
I mean,
I had I don't know how to say this because there's no way that I say it and makes sense. I had boxers on with pictures of the groom's face as a gag gift. And I didn't know that everyone else in the room knew that until I had been seated at a table for a minute. And one of the bridesmaids goes, "Hey, do you have John's face on your boxers?" And I went, "How did you know that?" And she pointed, and I realized as I sat in a chair that the entire crotch seam of my pants had disintegrated, mainly because your boy was shredding the dance floor.
did you
I would rather
did you ask
show
why she knew that? Why she was looking down
because
there?
I was
mean,
man spreading in a chair in black pants under which a pair of white boxers with a dude's face was sticking out.
yeah, man spray. That's how you usually sit. So it's probably okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. What do you
Yeah,
want?
well, I mean,
comfortable.
sitting next to you in a stadium chair is not always the most comfortable thing for other people. That's
Point
all
here
I'm
is,
saying.
I would rather go to 100 wedding receptions with my junk hanging out than try to get into another stock car in front of people. All right? I'll never again. My dream of sitting in a stock car died. I don't know that I'll ever even try. I might lose 60 pounds between here and September. I don't think I'm trying again. Can't do it. Most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me.
So the average listener out there listening to this show right now, how many of them could get in that car comfortably? I'm not calling them overweight. I'm just saying.
If you are under 5'11", you're fine. Doesn't matter what you weigh. If
All
you're
right.
5'11", you can
Let
get
me narrow it. How many people in this building how many people upstairs in this building could fit in a NASCAR? Tara.
Tara could fit.
That's it.
No. Cato could fit. Hendricks could fit. Stoneman could fit.
Okay. Yeah, but he wouldn't be able to see above the dash.
I didn't say he would fit well. I said he could fit. Stoneman could fit. The boss man could fit. Tara could fit. Paige could fit.
Maybe Cole.
Cato could fit. Cole could fit.
Diesel couldn't get his arms together enough to get in there because he's so stocky.
Diesel could fit to get in, but he could not fit in the seat. Like he could get in the car, but he'd be real cramped in that
Because
seat.
he'd have to bring his arms together.
Yes.
I don't know if he can do that.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't-
Diesel could get in the car, but he would not comfortably be in the car. Cole could get in the car and be comfortable in the car. Tara, Cato, Hendricks, Stoneman, and that might be the list of. And when I say the list, I mean the studio. If we go downstairs, Kevin could fit in the car. All the girls in sales could fit in the car.
Jay couldn't. He's too tall.
Jay could not. Jay's too tall. I'm too tall, and Jay's got me. Jay's too tall. Bill would be real close.
And by the way, before you ask, I'm claustrophobic.
I want you to know-
I wouldn't even give it a shot. I couldn't fit in the window. So no.
Lonzo could not fit in the car.
Yeah, that's fine. I already knew that.
Joey just texted the show and said, "I'm 6'1", 220, and I can fit." Yes, you're 6'1". I'm 6'3". I'm gonna give myself and a half and 260. Well, I'm actually down to 250 now. I'm actually down to 248.
Well, you were
Thank you for asking.
before all that food.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. I legit. I upset the fiance last night because I told her when I got home, she was like, "How was the weekend?" or "How was the trip?" And I told her I was telling her this story, and she's laughing, and she goes, I said, "I want you to know," and I mean this. Every time that I am tempted to knock down another little Debbie for like a cheat over the next 5 months till we get hitched, every time I am just going to picture myself hanging like a half-dead tuna out of the window of this stock car, unable to get my big ass in through the window, and that will be my motivation because next year, they've already told us, listen, we're going to do this again next year. We're going to run it back. We'll come back. We'll update. Hopefully, Spire will win a race or two this year. We'll have the winning race car to take a tour of, whatever. And I'm like, I want you to know, my motivation is that when we come back next year, to be thin enough that I can get in this car. and it's the biggest motivation to lose weight that I have ever had. And she goes, more than our wedding? And I went, yeah. Yeah. And I knew it was the wrong thing to say, but I wasn't about to lie to her. Yes. Every time I hit the gym, every time I eat a piece of lettuce from this point forward, I'm just going to go stock car, stock car, stock car.
Wow. I
Fatty.
can't, dude. I mean, come on. I realize what we do is we jump in and we say stuff. So you should have thought about that.
Nope.
You should have.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. I'm not going to lie. Stock car. All right. When we come back, there is a question that's gone around the world of baseball for a while that yesterday ESPN unintentionally answered for us. It's about the pitch comp. I'll share that with you when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live read. We're coming right back. Do me a favor. Stay right there. BRB. No. Anyway, what a lot we've got going on the show today. ESPN was broadcasting a Dodgers game, and during said Dodgers game, they had a live segment. Now, this is something that's been happening lately. It's something that I pushed for a couple of spring trainings ago. The ESPN broadcast had the Braves mic'd up. This was when Freddie Freeman still played for the Braves. They threw a mic on Freddie, and they had Freddie spend an inning mic'd up in the field and at the dish talking ball. They had John Smoltz in the booth, Brave legend, of course. And this at the time was a point where most of us thought that Freddie Freeman was going to retire an Atlanta Brave. And he was talking with Smoltzy, and it ended up being wildly entertaining. There was one spot where Freddie was on first. There was a pop fly to shallow center field, I think. And Freddie took off running. Now, the guys in the box, like, you could hear them wanting to question why Freddie's on a dead sprint on a pop fly to center field. And Freddie is talking while he's running. He's like, it's the wind, boys. The wind's going to catch it. Watch this. And as he's rounding third, wouldn't you know it, the ball drops. The wind caught it. Center fielder couldn't get to it. At this point, Freddie's almost at third. And they're like, Freddie. And he takes off home. And he's like, I got it. You can hear him breathing. You can hear him chugging. He slides in. And he's like, Smoltzy, could you run like that? Like, it was great. It was wildly entertaining. And they've started to do that more, including now in the regular season, where they're throwing mics on these guys when they're in the field. And these guys are breaking down the game. They're having fun. They'll talk about whatever stuff they're joking around. But when the ball's in play, they're telling you, all right, I'm going to move over. We know in this report he likes to hit to the left, so I'm gonna shift over a little bit. Or, my job here, he's trying to get this guy to ground into contact. And if he does, he likes to push the ball to my side, so I'm ready and whatever. It's just really, really interesting. Well, in an in-game interview with Kiki Hernandez a couple of days ago, the Cardinals at the plate, top of the third inning, ESPN had Carl Ravitch, David Cone, and Eduardo Perez in the box. Kiki Hernandez was covering third base during the interview. He was answering questions about the Cardinals. He was answering questions about what was happening on the field. Victor Scott II was at the plate for St. Louis. Scott reached first on an infield single that put Hernandez on alert for a potential double play. Well, as he's doing the interview, he says into the microphone, hey, guys, I need to turn my pitch comm higher. I can't hear it with you guys, which, of course, means Kiki's got two microphones in. He's got one in the hat, which has a speaker, and the speaker broadcasts the pitch comm to him. What pitch is coming up, where it's going to be located, etc. Because, if you're playing third base and you know that they're going to throw to let's say a right-handed batter, and they're going to throw changeup inside, if that batter gets his hands in and he turns on that baseball, the likelihood percentage-wise is that it's coming down the third base line. So he needs to know what pitch is getting, because whether it gets pulled or pushed, hit in the air, hit on the ground, that pitch type may have a number that correlates to it. Most of the time, you throw an inside changeup to this guy, he hits it on a rope down the third base line. Third baseman's got to be aware of that possibility. So one infielder, the pitcher, the catcher, and one infielder and one outfielder get to wear a pitch comm. And when the catcher, normally the catcher, sometimes the pitcher, but when the catcher decides on a pitch, he pushes the buttons on his little thing, and the microphone tells you. And there have been people, as a matter of fact, a couple of my buddies here in town, they do a podcast on baseball called the Coach's Son Podcast. It's very, very good. A couple of dudes who grew up around the game, grew up sons of baseball coaches. Now they just talk about baseball. Chris and Andrew, phenomenal podcast. If you want to check it out, the Coach's Son Podcast. Very, very good. All baseball. And they had a conversation during the preseason where they came to the realization that we don't know what the pitch comm works like, right? Like, we know that it works. We know the catcher pushes a button. We know that the button gets pushed and it transmits a signal, but we don't know how. We don't know what it sounds like, whatever. Well, Kiki Hernandez answered that question for us, because he turned his pitch comm speaker volume all the way up while he was mic'd up on ESPN. Now, I cut out a couple of the signals here because a lot of it was like it would say a thing, and the guys just ignored it, which I think they know why, right? You got a Major League Baseball player on third base who is broadcasting on national television what the next pitch is going to be. Does it really matter? No, because with the TV delay, the likelihood that the Cardinals are going to have a TV on, hear the signal, relay the signal to the batter's going to know which pitch is coming. Very, very unlikely. But it is interesting. So here's about 20 seconds worth of clips. If you've never heard the pitch come or you wondered how it works, turns out it's pretty simple.
If we need to be there, we need to get.
No plans. All right, 1-1 pitch. That's
Oh,
down.
wait, my take. Him too. Other ground screws.
Good change up there.
The other kid can beat me to third, and he's thinking the same thing. Hi, boy.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Is attaboy the most old school but still reliable chatter? Attaboy.
I don't think I've ever said it.
You've
before.
never said attaboy?
Nah,
You never handed out an attaboy?
Nah.
Attaboy.
I think it's. I
You
believe.
want an attababy guy? Attababy.
No, I don't do that either.
No.
I just say good job. I mean, it's just I think it's more of a baseball thing.
I think it might be because I was a baseball guy, and to this day I ain't played baseball in probably 20 years. Well, 18 years. To this day I'm still an attababy guy. Attababy.
Just like the whole tipping your cap thing. I mean that's a baseball thing. It just is.
That's a cowboy thing. Cowboys tip a cap.
No.
Cowboy tip that
no,
cap.
That's not a cap. That's a hat, man.
It's a
cowboy hat. A real cowboy, if you call their hat a cap, they're probably gonna.
It's a nice cowboy cap you got there,
Yeah.
feller.
Yeah.
I'm an attababy guy.
Good luck
Attababy.
ever getting that boot barn job.
Come on down to the boot barn. We got boots, socks, caps. Hey, you're right. I hate it. I hate it now that I've said it that way. Now that I've said it with my dollar store Sam Elliott voice, I kind of hate it. I'm still an attababy guy. Somebody does something good, my go-to is attababy. And and by the way, doing it that way that's 100% an outfielder way of doing it. Infielder's got a different language. Infielder's speaking a different way. Infielder's gonna walk and be like, attababy. Outfielder's got to yell from right field.
Yeah.
Attababy.
Do you ever wonder when some of the stories that you put on Sports Flash, I change them because I don't talk that way, but you do. So you put how you talk in there,
sure do.
and I have to change it to how I talk.
I think I frequently
because I
typed out the
feel
word dub in it.
Yeah, and I feel fake saying that because I don't say that in real life, so I'm not going to do that. I'm supposed to add character to it. I'm not going to try to be Rob Brown. I can't. No one can do that.
Texter said, hum nap. That's a good one too. Come on, nap. Hum nap. That's a great one.
There's like a word in there.
Yeah,
I heard the now
it's
thing.
like come on now, but somehow it got shorted to hum nap.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't explain it.
Wow.
It's just one. And obviously, when you come into the game, you start picking up from what other guys are doing, what other guys are saying when you're out there, right? The chatter is passed on, which is why I think attababy has been around for forever. We were attababying when I was in Little League ball. I'm now an almost 40-year-old man, haven't played competitive baseball in like I said, probably 19, 20 years. And in this point, if I am at any spot and somebody does something that I have texted Diesel and Cole, I have texted them, attababy.
I just realized who I've heard that from more than anybody. And I think I attributed it to him just being old. And that was Bob McLean.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Bob's a baseball head, though, isn't he?
He worked for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, he's a baseball
back
guy.
in the day. I mean, he was a football guy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe, but like the bleed over between old school football, baseball guys is not as big as it is in today. Like today, I think
he did work at CNN, so maybe he was a Braves fan. I don't know, because they're like in the same building at the time.
Atlanta. It's all Atlanta stuff. Yeah, I think that like attababy is one of those ones that get attababy, attaboy, that gets passed on by baseball, right? I think when people hear chatter, they think it's everybody going, hey, which is, yes, that's more of a Little League thing. Like, you don't really do that in the bigs. You don't really hit them with the, hey, batter, swing, batter. That's more of an elementary thing. But, like, the infield chirps, the outfield chirps, they stay consistent. If I'm out and one of the dudes walks over talks to and is able to successfully engage in conversation with a lady of their choosing at a watering hole, and they come back to the table like, dude, I got a number. Atta baby. I don't know what to tell you.
So there's no bro. I mean, no, nothing like that. It's Atta baby. Okay.
Atta baby's my
All right.
go-to.
Okay.
Atta baby's the go-to. Atta baby. Texter said, Lord, I hate baseball people.
But Texter, this is how we identify them by their.
We out ourselves.
Yeah.
You give us enough time, we will out ourselves. Texter said, Rob, you are literally a baseball nerd. I love it. I don't know what to tell you. I loved it. Atta baby. Anyway, point is, did you hear it? Did you hear it in the audio?
That was interesting. That was very interesting audio. I did not know because I'm not a baseball guy, as you guys may not know. Yeah.
Come on, now.
I didn't realize that that's what they're doing from the. That's cool.
So
that really is.
inside, and it's very cool. I can even to some degree illustrate.
So the signals that the catcher is doing is no longer a thing.
Yeah, like they used to 2 fingers down, 1 for fastball, 2 for changeup, 3 for a curveball. Then they pat the.
They don't do that anymore.
No. They don't have to. I mean, there are some pitchers that most pitchers still retain the ability because if your pitch comm goes out, you just don't have a pitch comm. Now you got to go back to the fingers. In fact, if you go back and watch baseball in like the early 2000s, what you'll notice is a lot of pitchers, what they started to do was they started painting their nails with like bright yellow paint or whatever. So when they throw the signals down, it's a little easier for the pitcher to catch, to pick up, and they can flash them faster.
Caleb Williams did.
100%.
Okay. All right.
So they would flash that finger, and instead of holding that one down, they would just pop it down, and the pitcher would like see the nails and know, okay, it's fastball. And that way you're less likely to get your pitches tipped from a runner on second or from a, somebody out in the outfield or whatever. And you got less likely to get Houston Astro'd. And so now with the pitch come, it goes one of 2 ways. In fact, I don't know if you caught it in the middle of that audio. There's a very interesting sequence. Kiki's got the volume. There's a speaker for these things inside the band of your hat, right? Like this little part that folds down in the hat band. They actually run a speaker, like a wire and a speaker into that. So you can position it so that it's over your ear. And when the catcher puts in the signal, that speaker goes off to the pitcher has one, the catcher has one infielder and one outfielder have a speaker in their hat. And it'll say, like you heard, changeup, fastball, curveball, whatever the pitch might be. There's one interesting sequence in the middle of that where you can actually hear the pitch get changed because the catcher goes, the first one is fastball. And then a second and a half later, you hear changeup. That's the pitcher, either the pitcher changing the catcher's call or the catcher changing the pitcher's call, depending on who. Because a lot of pitchers will call their own games now. That's something that is, and usually it's aces. It's guys like Verlander or somebody like that. It's aces that will call their own game as opposed to having the catcher call the game. I don't know in this case how it worked out. It was Gavin Stone that was on the bump for the Dodgers, but you hear while Kiki's talking, you hear the call of fastball, and then within like a second and a half, you hear a repeat call, except this time it's changeup. That's a pitcher changing the call. I don't know. Maybe this is because I am a giant baseball nerd, but I thought it was real interesting to actually hear how the pitch comm sounds and how it works and how these guys can change each other's calls utilizing effectively an old Game Boy Pro wristband that they wear. Like some catchers wear it down on their ankle behind the pad. Some catchers wear it on the forearm under the glove. Some wear it on the front like a wristwatch. It's just really interesting how players are adapting this into their game, and to be able to hear the calls from the pitch comm over a mic. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I thought I would share it with you. You're all welcome. Texas said, nothing I like to do more than smack my homie's rear ends out of context. Atta baby. The classic butt pat. That's the most good game thing of all time. Good game. Good game. Good game. The old butt pat.
You know, there's that one guy that smacks you as hard as he can. That was me.
I am 0% surprised by that. Texas said, hey there, Blue, forgot your glasses. Come on now, baby. That's classic chirps, man. Baseball dorks. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a couple more things I want to run through in this hour, and then we hit the back half of the show. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Stick around. It's a good hat, right? It's a good hat. That's a good cap.
I thought you left the sticker on purpose.
No, I did not. I forgot to take it off.
To show that it was a brand new
I didn't know
hat.
the hat. They gave us a swag bag on the way out the door. I didn't know there was a hat in there until I got to the studio. And as I pulled up, I'm like, let me see what's in there. I bet there's some good stuff in
Wow, you didn't immediately check the swag bag.
there. No, dude, you got to be cool, man. I'm hanging out with NASCAR drivers. You can't be like, oh, let me see what the free stuff is. Like, you got to be cool
As
about
far
it.
as I know, you came home yesterday, so you could have checked it when you
I
got
left it in my
home.
car, and by the time I got home, I was exhausted. I did not go back to the car.
Yeah, I'm sure that swag bag was very heavy.
It had a very cool tumbler in it, had a koozie, had a hat, had some stickers, gonna go on the guitar case. Like, it had some cool stuff. Could Rob get into the General Lee? Yes, because the General Lee had more room in it. I don't think. Let me put it this way. I don't say this like to sound like a putz or whatever. I don't think the regular person understands how much room there's not in those vehicles. There is just no room in those cars. To the point that, and I found this out, the drivers all have custom-made individual seats that are contoured to them, right? Like they go sit and they have a seat that is built around their body. So when they plug a seat in, when these cars get built and taken apart, that driver's seat comes out of the car to be, so like between races. So they'll race it, whatever one track, and then the next week they're at a different track, and they'll rotate through their cars. When they're rotating to the next car, that driver's seat comes out of the old car and gets installed in the next car because it is made contoured to them. Because once you're in that thing, I'll give you one more story. I should have told this one on the air. I was talking to Carson Hocevar, who drives one of the cars for Spire. And because he's like 6'4", 6'5", right? But he fits in there. But I asked him, I said, how do you fit in? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I have on this knee right here from the drive shaft or from the steering column, I have a bruise about that big around. And on the inside of my right thigh, about right here, I have another bruise from where I slammed it on the other side of the column trying to fit my knee around the electrical box. So I was talking to him, and he told me, he's like, he saw me struggling, and he kind of laughed. And he said, I said, how the hell do you get your big behind in that car? And he goes, I'm going to be real with you. We raced 36 races. He said, I spend about 40 weeks a year with bruises on both knees from slamming them into the steering column, from slamming them into the dashboard, into the electrical box. He goes, every time I get into and out of the car, the crew grimaces because I just bang everything around in that car. Like my knees hit everything, my thighs hit everything. He goes, I spend most of the year with bruises on the inside of my legs and on my thighs or on my knees from this. He said, it is easier for me when I go to tracks. I will stay in that car for 7 hours before I get out of it to go to the bathroom and get back in. All right, I'll give you one more background story before we take a break. If you missed the first hour of the show, go to thefanupstate.com. Middle of the page up at the top, there is a podcast button. Click on it, drop it down, click on the Rob Brown Show, and you can go back and listen to the first hour of the show. In the first hour of the show, I told you about my trip to Spire Motorsports NASCAR Garage. Yesterday, we talked a little basketball. In the first hour, we just generally had some fun on the show. And I opened the show by telling the story about the fact that yesterday I was just a happy redneck. All right. Had the time of my life, got to tour the garage. They took us into parts of the garage that they usually don't bring people into. I got to meet the head mechanic of Spire Motorsports, whose name was Rooster, which was incredible. It was an all-around amazing experience. And part of that experience was at the end, they asked if we wanted to sit in a stock car. Yeah. I don't want anything more in my life than I want to sit in a stock car, except for, and this might shock you, my big behind could not get into the car. It was the most humiliating thing that is ever happened to me. It was embarrassing beyond belief. Could not get into the car. Spent my whole life. I think, Zoe, we all create these scenarios in our head, and it's best case, I've always seen myself sliding the legs over, just slipping down into that thing, fitting in natural. Most things I do, I'm gonna sound like a big head jerk for just a minute. Most things I do, I'm pretty good at. Not great, like I'm not excellent at any one thing, but most things I do, I'm pretty good at. Most things, or at least the base comes naturally to me, right? Like I'm not saying I excel at any one thing, but usually the core mechanics of a thing come pretty easily to me.
You are Ron Burgundy right now, and it's,
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And I'm not like, it is what it is. I'm not embarrassed by it. I've got a good, like, I never really took golf lessons. I just kind of learned how to golf by going golfing, right? I got a good drive. I never had to really do it. Baseball, I can still to this day swing a mean baseball bat. Got a fluid swing. The core mechanics. I'm not good at anything, but I'm natural at most things that we do. So in my head, I always saw getting into a NASCAR as something that was going to be easy for me. I've watched it happen a billion times on TV, right? You throw right leg in, you swing left leg over, you lean back, you grab the inside of the window, and you just slide down into the seat. So I swung the right leg up, I swung the left leg up, I grabbed the inside of the window, I leaned back, I slid it, bang, knee hits the steering column. Can't fit. Pull myself back out. Move the left knee over a little bit. Slide in. Bang. Right knee ends up against the electrical box on the inside. Can't fit. Pull myself back up. Go in for a third time. Bang. This time, somehow, both my left knee and my right knee hit two different things, and I can't get in the car. Now, I'm half in, half out of the car. My back, my butt is against the back of the seat. I am twisted halfway. I've got everything from like the nips up hanging out of the window. I can't get in anymore, except for now I'm also too far in to where I can't just pop back out. I'm like stuck. And you know good and well, the last thing in the world I'm doing is asking somebody, hey, can you hook up under my arms and drag me? No. I already look like I'm not going to look like more of a in this moment with two certified cup racing NASCAR drivers right there, including friend of the show, Corey LaJoy. I can't do that.
And they all knew you weren't going to be able to get in there.
Every one of them. I'm going to tell you two things that I got told after that happened. Number one, the guy that led the tour, he is he's the garage chief for Spire, right? He oversees the administrator, the manager. He oversees everything that happens for all of Spire Motorsports. They have 3 charters in the Cup. They have 2 charters in the Truck Series, plus the one that Kyle Busch drives on, which, by the way, we got to see Kyle Busch's truck. Pretty dope, right? He oversees everything. When I could not get in this car, and I finally managed to extricate myself from the rig, I get out, and he walks over to me, and I'm like, no, dude, it is everything in my power not to leave. Just leave. I was walking out. I did not want to be there anymore. And he walks up to me and he goes, hey, man, he goes, don't feel bad. That's what, his words, not mine, Zoe. That's why there's no fat NASCAR drivers anymore. He goes, think about it. Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, you had fat NASCAR drivers. He goes, there's no more fat NASCAR drivers. That's why, because they can't get in the car. We've added so much and we've enclosed it. We've modified it. We've shrunk it down so much. You can't be a fat NASCAR driver. And I said, yeah, I'm fat. And he goes, yeah. Like, it was the most refreshing thing that's ever happened. Carson Hocevar works. So now I felt real good because in that moment, you know what I Googled? First thing I did, got out of the car. I Googled tallest NASCAR driver. It was Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric goes 6'3" is what they have them listed at, which we know how rosters work, Zoe. If they got you listed at 6'3", you're 6'2", right? If you're listed at 6'3", that's the home team benefit. You're 6'2". I thought, all right, I would be the tallest guy on the circuit. I feel better about this. I didn't get in because I'm fat, but at least I can claim it's because I'm tall. Carson Hocevar walks over, drives for Spire. This dude's 6'5". He's got me by 2 inches. I go, bro, how the hell do you get into this rig? And he goes, I'm going to be real honest with you. He goes, we race 36 times. I spend about 40 weeks a year with bruises on both knees and the inside of my thighs because I hit everything on the way in. I hit the dashboard. I hit the steering column. I hit the box. I hit everything. He goes, the mechanics, the crew hate it when I get into the car because I get into the car and you hear from every part of me hitting every part of the rig. He goes, I hit everything. I spend 40 weeks a year with bruised knees and bruised thighs from getting into and out of the car.
You know, you just made someone think they're having a flat.
You're all fine. You're all fine. He goes, I spend 40 weeks a year with bruises all over my legs from getting in and out of the car. He said on like practice days when we run, you know, usually guys go run a couple of practice laps. Then they'll pop out of the car, go get some water, you know, hit on some new deodorant, whatever, get back in. He goes, I don't get out of the car. Once I'm in the car, I am in the car until the crew chief walks over and tells me, get out of the car, because I would rather sit in that car for 7 hours than get in and get out multiple times in a day. That made me feel better. I hated it so much. So much. You know what I love, though? Sports flashes.
Yeah, they jump out for deodorant. We'll see those videos. The Clemson Tiger baseball team took down USC Upstate 11-1 at Ford Field yesterday. Cam Canarella, Alden Mathis, and Jacob Jarrell all hit 3 RBI nights, while Billy Barlow went 5 innings, giving up just 3 and 1 earned run, earning the win. Clemson will be on the road for a 3-game series at Notre Dame starting Friday afternoon. Philly star Bryce Harper made history last night after starting the season 0-11. Through the Phillies' first 4 games, Harper hit 3 home runs. That's right, 3 home runs last night, including a grand slam in the 7th inning, the 7th of his career. The night marked Harper's second 3-home run game. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire.
Ever do anything inside of a video game that makes you question your own sanity? You're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, when I was playing VR and I got trapped in the floor because it got ruined, got messed up, and they kept bouncing me into the sky, and I couldn't get the headset off because my equilibrium was thrown off so much that it took me probably 5 minutes to get the headset off. And I walked out of the room, and my wife is like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No," and I had to go sit down for a while. So yeah. Probably not the experience you're talking about, but yeah.
I was playing GTA 5 a couple of nights ago. There's a guy outside there's a casino in the game. And outside of this guy's on the phone. He's like, yeah, if I don't get that money to that guy, he's going to kick my butt. Like, he just goes off on this whole thing about how he's in debt to effectively a loan shark. So to my character, I put on a tuxedo. I got a Tommy gun. I put on a fedora, and I just walked over and pretended I was the mob boss there to collect. Up to and including hitting him with brass knuckles, and when he ran off, pulling my Tommy gun and unloading on him. And then, like, into my mic, I was playing with Mark Shelley, into my mic, I'm like, yeah, find the money, see? Like, having this whole thing. And then Mark's like,
so
are
immersion.
You okay?
So you went...
Oh, full on. And he's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I don't think I am. I think there's something wrong with me.
Dude, that sounds like you were having fun.
That was a blast. And away we go into hour number 3, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Off State. Rob and the Great One, Lonzo with you on a Wednesday / Monday-ish morning. At least it is for me. I'm not going to lie. I had a real good last couple of days. Sometimes you just need a little break, and I got to, you know what it was? And I realized this, I just got to be a fan for a little while, which I do all the time anyway. But I got to be a fan that got a really dope experience because of what I do. And it's not even a humble brag. It's a straight up brag. It was great. It was phenomenal. Got to be a fan, and loved every second of it.
Ain't nothing wrong with perks, man.
No, man.
And you should take advantage of them if you get them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I had a great time, but also real glad to be back. Real glad to be back. Real glad to be back in the saddle with you guys on the show today. Let us dive right in. There is a situation developing out in Oakland, California. Now, you have, of course, if you listen to this show at all.
What's up? What's up, man?
Know that I am fascinated / very agitated with the developing story around the soon-to-be former Oakland Athletics. I am intrigued by this. You have John Fisher, the owner of the A's. He wants to scratch that, has gotten the approval to, and will be moving this team to Vegas, but it's going to take a while. They got to build a brand new stadium in Vegas. That's not a quick process. And so there was a story that came out this weekend that the city of Oakland, despite everything that is going on, is willing to work with the team on a renewal of up to 5 years to keep them in the Oakland Coliseum until it's time to go to Vegas. And at the same time that this is going on,
Wait. 5 years?
Up to 5 years.
It takes that long to build a stadium?
This thing, have you seen the renderings of the stadium?
I believe but still, I mean.
It is Star Trekian. It's going to be bananas. It is going to become everything that Jerry Jones Stadium, everything Jerry World was when they put it up, it's going to be that for baseball. It is going to be a destination. The renderings look incredible. So it's going to take some time. And Oakland said, hey, we'll work with you. We'll get you an extension to keep you in Oakland Coliseum. Because the thought was for 1, possibly 2 seasons, the Oakland A's were going to end up becoming the Oakland Road Warriors. Their home games were going to be in minor league stadiums throughout California, Nevada, and Arizona, which means the players. Why the hell would you want to be an Oakland Athletic? You don't even have a locker room. You're using minor league locker rooms in the bigs for multiple years. Like, it's not a great look. And as a protest for John Fisher moving this team, for every game so far this season, the A's fans have turned out by the tens of thousands to tailgate outside of Oakland Coliseum, but then not go into the game. So they've got 10, 20,000 people tailgating outside of the stadium. Their attendance at their last couple of home games, Alonzo, has been hovering around 1,000 people. That's not much. The Swamp Rabbits, the Drive, the Triumph regularly bring over 1,000 people in for their home games, and this MLB team has lower attendance number than the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. That's bad for them. So there's a new scandal because let me finish up the first thought. Oakland said, we'd like to give you an extension on the lease to the stadium. You can at least you'll have a home. At least you'll have a place. Even if fans aren't coming, at least you'll have a big league park. At least your players will have a locker room. We'll do it for them. And John Fisher and the A's are like, you're charging us too much. Despite the fact that we've created a world in which less than 1,000 fans, let's say less than 2,000 fans are coming to games, you're charging us too much. We're not good with that. We would rather be the Oakland Road Warriors. We'd rather play in minor league baseball stadiums than have a home that we feel we have to pay too much for. It's pretty ridiculous. And then it got even worse because on Monday, Esteury Ruiz plays for the A's, a guy that excelled in Oakland's opening series against the Guardians through the first 4 games of the season, though, was batting .429. .429. Guys that bat over 300 are jewels in Major League Baseball. Now, granted, it was a 4-game stretch. He got real white hot, but my man started the season batting .429. And then out of nowhere, he gets optioned down to AAA Las Vegas. And up comes infielder Tyler Nevin, who got claimed off of waivers after being cut by the Baltimore Orioles. Then the A's spoke out. General Manager David Forst and manager Mark Kotze discussed Ruiz's demotion before the A's took on the Red Sox. Forst said, quote, "We saw some better at-bats this spring, but the reality is to use his skills, he needs to get on base. He needs to be able to do that on a consistent basis. I'm hoping leading off every day at AAA, it's not a long stay for him down there." My guy was batting .429. That's like the most you can get on base in baseball. That's the limit. That's the upper limit.
Sounds like something going on in the locker room or something.
Oh.
Possibly.
Oh, there is. You ready for the dumbest thing that is happening in Major League Baseball right now? There have been, in the past few days, there have been multiple players that have been sent by the A's down, demoted, or traded away. And it has happened due to what is being called wristband gate. Yes, you are you are absolutely correct. It's as dumb as it sounds.
Do we know where Tom Brady was during all of this?
Oh, even better. Brady's got nothing to do with this. There is a Oakland A's fan club / merch store, I guess you would call it, called The Last Dive Bar, which, by the way, I have to say, commendable, respectable name for a fan club. The Last Dive Bar. Real good. Like real good. So, The Last Dive Bar sells right now these wristbands that just have the name of the bar. It says Last Dive Bar on it. Sells these wristbands. These wristbands say Last Dive Bar, and apparently the Last Dive Bar is using this money to fund a sell the team drive, right? They're petitions, flags, signs, whatever, encouraging John Fisher to try to sell the team. We've seen this already. We've talked about the what are they called? The 67s, the Oakland fan group that's organizing these tailgates where tens of thousands of people are showing up but not going to the game, and they're all waving flags and wearing hoodies that say sell across the front of them. Well, these wristbands they've been selling have been selling very well. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 different players over the first series of the years, though, were spotted on the field wearing these wristbands that just say Last Dive Bar across the front of them. The Last Dive Bar website is selling shirts and hoodies, etc. They're using these to fund that merch drive, etc. And these 4 players were wearing wristbands in support of the Last Dive Bar this season. Kristen Pache was one of them. Promising young outfielder. Spent some time with the Atlanta Braves, got shipped out because the Braves obviously were loaded with talent across the outfield. He got let go. Well, he ended up in Oakland. Out of the blue and very suddenly, traded to Philadelphia. Didn't really get anything in return for Kristen Pache. Designated hitter Brent Rooker, the team's only All-Star last season. Only All-Star. Got benched inexplicably. Just the only guy to make the All-Star for the A's last year got hit to the bench. James Caprillion, starting pitcher for the A's last year, wore a wristband. Unexpectedly released a couple of days ago. And then Ruiz, a guy batting .429 out of the gate, got sent down to AAA ball. The 25-year-older was hitting last year, hit .254 with 67 stolen bases, 47 ribbies. He was .429 through his first eight plate appearances this year. There is literally no reason not to have him in the lineup, and yet he got sent down. And it just happened to be that these 4 confusing lineup changes and personnel moves all came to the 4 guys that were wearing these wristbands on the field. Now, let's get the part out of the way that is importante. Yes, it is a business. And yes, a business has any right to set any rules, regulations, and guidelines that they wish. And yes, the business has the right to enact whatever discipline they want based on a violation. Lonzo and I very clearly don't have dress codes here at the station. I'm currently wearing a baseball jersey with my own name on the front and back. Lonzo with the DBZ shirt today. We can wear whatever we want. But I promise you, if I came in here with a sweatshirt tomorrow that said you across the front, I'd probably be benched for a little while, right? Probably get benched. I'd probably be told, why don't you go home and take a day, my man? You clearly cracked.
Unless you worked at another station, then it'd probably be perfectly acceptable.
But on this station, I can't wear my U hoodie. I can wear my FU hoodie because we're big Furman guys up in the building. But if it didn't say FU, it said you, I'd probably be on the DL for a day.
Do you actually have that shirt?
I don't, but now that I've said it out loud, I want one.
Okay.
I want one. I can think of some places that I would absolutely rock a U hoodie. 100% could think of a place or 9.
That would actually make me have to go to management and say, hey, I'm offended by Could you escort him out of the building, please?
Lonzo would go full snowflake and go, my feelings are hurt.
Oh,
Get him out of here.
No. There's a difference. I would go, hey, do you know who I am? I need that gone.
Full snowflake. So all 4 dudes wore wristbands. All 4 guys are either not on the team or have been sent down to AAA inexplicably. It makes no sense.
So did this all happen at one time, or was this in successive games?
All these moves came within with like a day of each.
Okay, so these guys, maybe these guys wanted off the team. Is it possible?
I mean, I can't think of any reason that any Oakland Athletic would want to be on the team, but I'll tell you this right now. If you gave me a Major League Baseball paycheck to play for a team that was going to go 0-162, I'm doing it, especially if I'm a career baseball player. Yeah, I've asked Cody Decker before, hey, man, would you have left media, if you would have left baseball earlier if you got assigned to a crap team? And his answer was like, no, I wanted to play baseball until I couldn't play baseball anymore. If you're on a real bad team, but you're in the show, you're on a bad team, but you're in the show. And if you got no other options other than to play for Oakland, you play for Oakland, you suck it up, you go out there, you ball out, and you earn yourself a fat contract to go play literally anywhere else down the line. But here's 4 guys who wore a wristband supporting the fans of the team. You know, the fans that aren't coming to your games, that aren't giving you money, they're not buying merch. They're buying merch from secondary outlets that more make fun of your team. Oh, by the way, just in case you were curious at all, there's another fun story that's going around right now. There's another fun story because somebody allegedly, though we don't know that this is for sure, allegedly there was a note that was found laying on the ground at an Oakland game either yesterday or the day before, and on that note, it apparently is a guidance letter to the merchandise stand. And on that merchandise letter, those directives to the stands, it said, if you see out on the shelves for any reason, any Oakland forever, because that used to be the slogan, Oakland forever. And now it's like Oakland for a couple more years, maybe. If you see any merch that says Oakland forever, remove it from the store. Also, we would like any merch that says Oakland on it to be moved out of sight, out of view. We only want to sell merch that says athletics across the front. And it even goes so far as to say, we understand fans don't like the team right now, but we still want to provide them with a fun, entertaining experience at the ballpark. But don't sell them anything that says Oakland on it. Like, it's pretty bad. And now you have gotten rid of a promising young outfielder in Kristen Pache, 2 other consistent starters, and your only all-star because they wore a wristband that supports the fans. I got to tell you, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that can be done. This is screwed. It's over. There's no going back. Oakland is out of Oakland. They'll be heading to Vegas. But I have to tell you, this is wildly entertaining to me at this point. Just the raw soap opera caliber drama to this is ridiculous. They just got rid of 4 of either their best or potential best baseball players for wearing a wristband at a point in time where the fans already hate them. The Oakland Athletics, ladies and gentlemen, absolute morons. It's impressive. It's like if you were driving down the road and you saw 2 trains about to completely collide head on. You know you should look away. You know there's about to be catastrophic destruction. You know there's about to be people hurt, killed. Yet if you saw 2 trains about to collide, you can't not watch that. That's how I feel about the A's. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can help with. There's nothing I can do to make this stop. There's nothing that anybody can do to make this not happen. Yet these stories fascinate me.
If I am in the locker room, I want to know who the rat is. There's a rat in there.
Bro, they were seen on TV.
Okay.
They were wearing these things during games.
Well, so they were focused in on by the TV broadcast?
Not necessarily, because there was the freeze frames I saw, like Kasparian was was the pitcher. There was one point he came out and he was doing high fives. They do the reverse high five, like the back of the hand high five, and he was doing that, and the camera just happened to view, and it was very clear that his wristband was a last dive bar wristband. Ruiz, there's a shot from him swinging a bat in the on deck circle, and when he swings the bat and he comes to his backswing and he kind of holds it for a second, you can see the wristband, and it's pretty obvious what these wristbands are.
So there's no chance these guys just like hanging out at that place. It's a good spot. That's their spot, and they like representing their spot.
It's not a bar. It's not an actual bar.
Okay,
that's just the name of the club.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
It's just the name of the supporters club. It's not like a real bar.
I'm trying to come up with a rational reason why they would wear the wristbands.
The rational reason is they're supporting the fans, and they realize that the next couple of years is going to suck. They're going to be playing in front of nobody unless they're on the road.
So you've never gotten up and you're going somewhere and looked at your closet and you were going to wear something and went, you know what? I probably shouldn't wear that.
No, absolutely for sure. Absolutely for sure. And I've tiptoed the line Because there have been times I'm like out on remote and I'm like, you'd be really funny as to wear the whatever hoodie that might be a little egregious, but I love it. I'm rocking it, whatever. The point here is at a point in time where the fan base of this baseball club hates the fans and they don't care. They are openly. I texted a buddy of mine last night that was asking me if I was going to talk about this today. And I was reading through it and I'm like, the A's at this point on the Jumbotron, instead of showing like replays and highlights and player bios and all that, they should just take a picture of a middle finger being extended and just put that on the Tron and leave it there the whole game.
So can you not say that this was bad on both sides? That the guy should have been smart enough, that the player should have been smart enough to know that there'd be repercussions if they did this.
No, I'll tell you why. Who sells tickets? Players sell tickets. Owners don't sell tickets. Administration doesn't sell tickets. Coaches don't sell tickets. Players sell tickets.
Rob, do you, unless you just newly arrived, which you have not, do you know how management works
Yeah,
here?
no, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
And I'm guessing the players on that team knew how it worked there too.
Sure. And listen, they had to know they were taking a
By the way,
risk.
I am not. I'm not taking the management side for the A's here. I'm just saying the players should have been smart enough to know that there might be
First
repercussions.
Off, let's be real. Christian Pache got traded to the Philadelphia Phillies. He's better off.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
The guys who got cut are going to sign somewhere else. And there's about I don't know.
So it could be what I said in the first place. Maybe they did this so they could get like
they may very well, again, but I'll tell you what I think happened. I think the players looked and went, this sucks for us. It sucks for the fans. We understand what they're going through. And I'm going to rock a wristband that says, yo, fans, I got your back. I'm out here. I'm playing. I have to play, but I see you. I hear you. I'm with you. This whole thing is a big old steaming bag of dog poo-poo. I get you. I am in solidarity with you. And the best thing I can do, I can't go speak out. I can't grab a mic and go, our ownership sucks and I hate them. The best I can do is rock this wristband that at least lets you see yourself represented in these games. And if something happens, something happens, but I stand with you guys. I think that's all it was. And at the end of the day, they're the ones that people are tuning in to watch play. So they do have more power than ever before.
You should tell the NBA that you can't do that. Say, I want to be traded. Stuff that doesn't work, because from what I understand, it works there, and we've seen it work in the NFL too. So apparently it doesn't work in baseball yet. All you need is a wristband.
Yeah. It's actually said they aren't freaking toddlers. They knew what the wristband means. They intentionally wore it to a game on purpose. I agree. Again, I 100% think the players did this as I see you, I feel you, I'm with you. This sucks. We know it sucks. You know it sucks. You can say stuff we can. So we're just going to let you know we're with you by rocking the wristband. It's like when, when we all did the yellow Live Strong bracelets a couple of decades ago. But just in a way where you can't say anything in this spot. So here's how I say something without saying something. And Oakland's management went, yeah, no, you're not going to be here. We are going to get rid of 4 of the best 6 baseball players on this team. We would rather lose more games than allow players to wear a wristband that tells the fans we are with you. We would rather suck worse than we do than allow 4 guys to wear a wrist. You know what you could have said? You could have said nothing. Because now these bracelets are being talked about on every sports talk radio show around the United States of America right now. I got to tell you, there's a solid chance I'm going to go buy one because I feel for Oakland fans right now. There's a chance I'm going to end up with one. These wristbands could have been, if this story didn't happen, if #wristbandgate doesn't happen, I have no idea what the last dive bar is today. None, not a clue. I don't know. I've never heard of it. I've never experienced it, never been to their website. But because they cut these guys, now all of a sudden, it's the biggest story in baseball right now. And you just gave millions of dollars to the fan club that is actively, violently on you. And you deserve it, John Fisher, because you're a bad person.
I don't think you'll do the bracelet thing, because if it doesn't match your outfit, you won't wear it, because you just got.
I can get it in green or yellow.
Oh, okay.
Yellow would rock the.
Yellow will work today.
Yellow
You're right.
Would work today. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I'm just going to say this: I'm going to tick some of y'all off in the next segment. I am going to tiptoe into a politics meets sports conversation, and it is going to absolutely infuriate about half of you. And I know it, and I'm mentally prepared for it. It's going to get contentious in here in the next segment of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Yes, the Last Dive Bar is a sick name. I opened the segment with that. It's a sick name.
Just makes me think of the Roadhouse from Roadhouse, which is called the Roadhouse. And that's the joke in the entire new movie.
In Roadhouse is Roadhouse?
Sorry.
No, I'm not worried about the spoiler. It's a bad name. Why do you not keep the name?
It's what? Roadhouse is the name of the Roadhouse.
I understand. I'm saying, why do you not keep it the Double Deuce? Why do you not keep it the name of the bar from the first
Because
Roadhouse?
it becomes a joke during the entire thing.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it.
You're never
Just
going to
keep
watch it anyway.
Keep the Double Deuce. I am going to watch it. It's next on our movie list. All right, guys, I'm going to grab a water from the office. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. BRB. Dudes and dudettes, thank you very much. Correct, 100%. I will absolutely be going first Braves weekend in Vegas. I will be bringing the lady to Vegas. I will go to Braves games in Vegas, and I will gamble like a madman while I'm there. I look forward to it. It's going to be a ball, and yet I also support A's fans because this sucks for them. You are correct.
By the way, to address Zach earlier, dude, man, don't suddenly turn. You lean towards heels anyway. So because The Rock come out and has done all he's done, you believe that The Rock's going to win?
So
The Rock is going to turn. We all know it. So it can set up Rock versus Roman at either SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania. It's going to happen.
Which I'm in for. I still want my Avengers Assemble moment. By the way, speaking of Punk,
because of the things that they've done, they did the rules match.
Yep.
Monday. They're going to lose a tag team match.
I don't think they're losing a tag team match. I think they win the match. I'm all in. I've fantasy booked myself into an Avengers Assemble final battle, and I can't wait. And somebody pointed out that Seth came out when they had their showdown the other day.
Yeah, he's betraying them too. It's going to be a double betrayal.
I don't think so. Seth came out. He was in red and gold like Iron Man. You got Kevin Owens throwing punches like Hulk. You've got CM Punk doing video workouts in an Avengers shirt. Like there's all and we know WWE is leaning into having stuff in the background that impacts the shows.
Oh, now I got to go back and look because I mean
the workout video he showed about his rehab and being ready to be at Mania. He's in an Avengers shirt, right? So I am all in on they are just copying that movie, and I'm here for it. Could you imagine like a 20-guy final battle at the end while Roman v. Cody is still active in the ring?
Yeah,
that'd be incredible.
I could definitely imagine.
Incredible.
Just who shows up that's not supposed to be there. That's really what I mean.
You get a Rock Austin showdown outside,
right? Or does I know I said MJF. I still think that would be amazing. What if Dustin finds a way to be there? I mean, that's the one that makes the most sense.
Tony giving Dustin permission to go with Cody. Assuming Cody and Tony's parted on.
After what CM Punk said, he may not want to have anything to do with them at all.
Again, I've only heard clips. I haven't heard the full interview, but that just sounded like wrestling talk, right?
Dude, I don't know. Say it again
may have
after.
to do a bonus segment on that at some point. Let's get controversial, shall we? Let's upset some people.
I'm not trying to interrupt and like derail this thing that's going to make me angry. Yeah, I don't care. Look at the picture I just sent you, and then you can do it. I mean,
well, obviously, I'm going to do that.
yeah, I think you need to.
Pirates have a new food item called the Renegade. It is a foot-long hot dog topped with potato pierogies, pot roast, pickles, and onions. Who thinks they could eat the entire thing? Well, first off, me. Not a problem. Second off, that's like 3 meals stacked on a hot dog.
Do you see the
bun.
picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
It's gorgeous. Pickles all across the top. It's like pulled pork. It looks like it's a pot roast. Of course, it's not in the South. It's a pot roast.
No way that thing holds together when you pick it up.
Not at all. That bun is ruined within putting it on. Let's get controversial here for just a second. LSU took on Iowa in the Women's Elite Eight this weekend. Of course, Caitlin Clark goes out there. She puts up, 41? They knock off LSU 94-87. And you would think that around Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the state capital of Louisiana, the focus would be on celebrating Angel Reese, celebrating Haley Van List, celebrating Kim Mulkey, celebrating LSU. They made it to another Elite Eight. Yeah, they lost, but they lost to college basketball's biggest star, Caitlin Clark. They had a tremendous season, yada, yada, yada. That is not what is going on right now. What is going on right now is that before that game started, the LSU women's basketball team was not present on the court for the national anthem. Now, that in and of itself, not a story to me. Not a story to me, okay? There's about 1 million moving parts, and for those of you, which is most of you, who have not participated in the behind-the-scenes production of a live professional or college sporting event, there's about 1 million things, and there's usually one guy or one gal with a headset on that is sitting up calling the shots. Hey, we need to go to this. After this, we're going to go to that. Rob Brown, I need you with your microphone over here. Camera guy, I need you in section 102. Overhead cam, I need you pointed at this guy over at the green shirt guy in row 104. There's 1 million moving parts. There's one game ops coordinator who is sometimes two, who is making the show run. It's like a television show. They're the director. But as Bill O'Reilly once said, it will do it live. There's not a lot of room. And if something goes haywire, you can't stop production and fix that thing. You just got to work around it until you're ready to come back to it. LSU's women's team was not on the floor by the time the national anthem began. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry has now threatened LSU's women's team and LSU with state-induced reductions of scholarships if players are not on the floor or on the field or on the whatever for the national anthem moving forward. Now, this is very interesting to me. It is very interesting to me that you are going to take the second most popular college team in the state of Louisiana. Some of you may know this. I was born in Louisiana. The majority of my family is in Louisiana. A solid chunk of my family that went to college went to LSU. I grew up an LSU fan because of my connection and my roots and my family roots in Louisiana. The second most popular college sports team right now in Louisiana is LSU's women's basketball. They are infinitely more popular than the men's basketball team. The only team that outpaces them is the LSU football team. LSU's football team, that's the icon. The women's basketball team over the past few years has skyrocketed in popularity. And I find it, frankly, infuriating that the governor of the state would say, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm willing to do? I am willing to make life more difficult for the second most popular athletics team in our state. A team that is in women's college basketball, drawing money to this school, selling out our gymnasium, having thousands of fans get on airplanes and fly to Greenville, South Carolina, and to Portland, Oregon, or wherever else to go watch this team play. I am going to impose scholarship reductions if they don't do the thing that I want them to do. Does that make sense to anyone? I don't get it. Because to me, there's a couple of things going on. First off, the LSU women's team, Kim Mulkey, the head coach, who, by the way, in case this plays to you, and to me it does matter in this conversation, is a noted, outwardly spoken conservative. If there's one person in that gym that I 100% has used the phrase, or I believe has used the phrase, you stand for the national anthem, it's Kim Mulkey. That's not a secret. She doesn't hide that part of herself. She doesn't have to. I wouldn't expect her to. I wouldn't want her to. I don't think anyone should have to hide their beliefs and opinions from the world. We should be able to talk about them even if we don't like them. She's already said, look, we were out of our routine. This is not like a regular game in Baton Rouge where we have our rhythm and our routine. And every elite athlete you talk to, they all talk about having their routine. What you think about a free throw? Everything from getting dressed to getting to the floor to the warm-ups down to when they shoot a free throw. Every basketball player will tell you there is a free throw routine you go through. Mine was 3 dribbles, a spin in the right hand, slap the left hand to it, shoot the free throw. Routine. But you're out of your routine. Not only are you out of your routine, you're out of your routine in a game that I told you on Monday, this is going to be the most watched women's basketball game of all time. Hands down, this is going to be it. Not only was I right, I was like way right. Way north of 12 million people on average watching this game.
You just said you were way right.
Yeah, I know. Like Kim Mulkey. Get it? So, Kim Mulkey's already said it wasn't a protest. She said, quote, honestly, I didn't even know when the anthem was played. We kind of have a routine when they're on the floor and they come off at the 12-minute mark. I don't know. We came in, we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry. Listen, that's nothing intentionally done. And I don't believe for a freaking second it was. Why would it be? They just played 39 basketball games where they didn't miss the anthem. And you think all of the sudden, big protest. This is where we decide to plant our flag. And by the way, this is where we decide to plant our flag, led by Kim Mulkey, noted openly outward conservative. You think that's where she decided to let the team plant their flag? I doubt it. I really doubt it. And then the first thing she says is, it was not intentional. There's a routine, there's a rhythm. We screwed the pooch. It is what it is. We screwed up. Okay? It's a mistake. This to me is one of those times where I describe politics and sports as a Venn diagram. They are not two separate circles. Politics and sports are always going to bleed over. Why? Because the athletes are people too, and they have political opinions, and they are allowed to. And if you want to decide whether you like an athlete or not on their political opinion, one way or the other, that's 100% fine. And politics is playing a bigger role in sports than ever before. Kansas City just voted to reject an extra sales tax that they wanted to use to renovate Arrowhead Stadium and where the Royals play. About 2 weeks after the owner and the GM of the Chiefs said, hey, we want to be here, but if they're not going to help us build a new stadium, we're leaving. He threatened the city of Kansas City with your team that's been in Kansas City for 1,000 years, Arrowhead Stadium, maybe the best home field advantage in football. We will leave if you don't give us what we want. And the people of Kansas City said, nope, we're not giving you that sales tax. Not happening. You're on your own. That's a huge political story, right? The Chiefs leaving Kansas City. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. There'll be a compromise. Both sides are on the extremes, and they're going to negotiate until they get down to the middle, and eventually they'll come to their mesh point. But it doesn't mean it's not a big story. Politics and sports are a Venn circle. They overlap. There's a little spot right in the middle where politics and sports cannot not be involved with each other. But this is gross to me. Mulkey says it's a mistake. 39 games in a row where this doesn't happen, the one it happens. You know what this is? It is performative politics getting involved in sport. And so for all of y'all that have been saying for years, when athletes are taking a knee or the NBA's writing Black Lives Matter on the baseline or whatever it is that you got mad about, for all that chest that you said, keep politics out of my sports, I fully expect you to do the same thing right now. I fully expect it. The fact that the governor of a state would say, hey, either you make athletes do what I believe is patriotic, the way I believe it to be patriotic, you either make them do it or I will damage your team. I will make it harder for you to succeed. Second most popular team in my state. Maybe third if you include the professional level. I'm going right now with the LSU women's basketball team's the third most popular team in the state of Louisiana. I'm going Saints 1, LSU 2, LSU women's basketball 3, Pelicans 4. And the Pelicans are good right now. 5th in the West. If you are good with the governor saying, I will rip scholarships from the I'll say overall, third most popular team in this state, a team that threatened a natty this year, a team that won a natty last year. If you are willing to do that because they don't do what you think is patriotic the way you think it's patriotic, I fully expect keep politics out of my sports guy to have that same energy right now, because that's crap. That is performative politics in an election year is what it is. I need to rile up my base, and I am willing to make it harder on Kim Mulkey. I am willing to make it harder on those girls. I'm willing to make it harder on that school, and I'm willing to make it harder on those fans in order to be able to get on a camera and go, stand for the anthem or you're a bad American. I'm not good with that. I got a real issue with that. Politics will always be a part of sports. There is no avoiding that. This is a state-funded university. At the end of the day, the state government is responsible for that university. But if this is where you draw that line, that is performative politics at its worst. At its worst. It's gross, and I don't like it. I am willing to make Kim Mulkey's job harder. I'm willing to make those girls have a rougher go of it. I am willing to make my state university's team less competitive in a point in time where women's basketball is going to the moon. 12 million viewers on average when LSU played Iowa Monday night. More than any men's basketball game that ESPN has shown in 5+ years. The last game of men's basketball on ESPN that got more viewers was a professional game in 2018 when LeBron James played for the Cavaliers. That's the last men's game that had more average viewers than LSU Iowa did on Monday night. So at a point in time where women's college basketball is on the verge of turning into a mainstream sport, you have decided that you want patriotism showed your way, the way that you think it should be done at a particular time, and you are willing to kick the legs out of a program for some damn performative politics. Ladies and gentlemen, compelled patriotism, compulsive patriotism is not patriotism. Being forced to do something doesn't make it patriotic. In fact, quite the very opposite. So if you're willing to make it harder on LSU's women's basketball when they are the, I will say, second, maybe third, no worse than third, I would say second most popular team in a sport that just set an all-time record and beat every men's tournament game with the exception of one, and you're willing to make their lives harder because they hurt your feelings because they didn't do a thing the way you think that thing should be done, that is performative politics, and it is garbage. It's disgusting, and I don't like it, and I have a major, major problem with it. Your thoughts are welcome. 71307 is the text line. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Phone lines are open. The renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. Shoot us a buzz. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 3 on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Okay, I feel better. I got it off my chest.
I choose not to participate because I don't want politics in my sports. So my portion of the show will not participate in such actions. And you can't debate if no one debates with you, and then we can move on to something else. Where you at, Ray?
Where you at, Ray?
Where you at, Ray?
It's been a minute. I think we may have run Ray off. Or Ray just finally conformed. He finally got it.
Or Ray died.
Or Ray died.
I hope he didn't die. He could have. I mean, we don't know.
Oh, man.
It's a legitimate possibility, guys, okay? People die all the time. It's unfortunate, but none of us are going to live forever. And if I'm reading anything into Ray's text, Ray's an older guy, okay?
All right, good. I'm not the only one that laughed at maybe Ray died. What if we got a text right now that's like, Ray was my uncle, he did die?
R.I.P.
Rip Ray. I mean, the likelihood is he just stopped listening.
Someday we're going to get a notification that Lonzo is no longer with us, that Rob is no longer with us. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. I prefer to be translated, and if you know what that means, good on you. I preferred for that to happen, but it's only happened once as far as I know. So, I mean, it's, you know. Gallows humor just doesn't suddenly happen. You either have it or you don't. I don't get the Orange Goblin thing, so I just and I don't want to look it up in case it's something bad. Now I want to try potato pierogies.
I do too. I want that for lunch.
I don't think,
but I'm not going to have it because then I can't fit in a stock car.
Well, there's that. Needs to be fat NASCAR. Why is there no fat NASCAR? I'd watch that.
Wrapping up the third hour of the show. Texas said, Rob, sports and politics don't mix. LSU women had made the national anthem in every other game. Yeah, no, I said that. I agree. Like I said, do you think they went 39 games without missing one, and you think they just decided to plant their flag? Now, if you do, it makes sense. They knew that was going to be the most watched basketball game of the year, no doubt, if they were good. But, like, why would they have waited 39 games to do it? It doesn't make sense. They've been on national TV a number of times this year. It doesn't make sense why they would do it. Texture said it's not a big deal. They have been there all year. Again, agreed completely. Texture said, hey, Rob, become the governor and you can force state-funded universities to do what you want. I'm sorry. Am I the one trying to force a state-funded university to do what I want? Or is the governor of Louisiana just said, you do what I want or I rip scholarships away? I'm not the one trying to make anyone do anything. It's the opposite side of that coin.
We could have moved on, people. We could have. If there was silence, we could have moved on. But no. You're biting. Stop biting. Let just go radio silent, and then we can move on to no politics.
I will say this is one spot where you and I differ because this is an engaging conversation to me. And it's an important one to have, I think, because while, yes, I think we all in our world of idealism have a world where sports and politics
he did gesture at me when he said idealism.
You're the czar of idealism.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't like politics on radio. I mean, on sports radio, I don't.
Here's the thing. I'm changing that to, first off, the emperor of idealism, because that sounds better. And I think emperor is above czar.
I believe in most cases, yes.
Yeah. So the emperor of idealism, A. Second off, I would like to point out that someone in the stream.
That's great.
All right, we're coming back to that.
That is great.
You stay put. I'm coming back to that.
You tried. It almost worked.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
I'm coming back to it. Second off, yes, in the land of idealism, right? But like, we all know that we live in the real world and those two things aren't separate. Lonzo, you should be paying very close attention to politics and sports in Kansas City right now.
You know what?
Right this second.
I will be very engaged, but I'll never be Gary engaged because I'm not Gary.
You get what I'm doing. The reality is everything in politics.
I cannot comment on the Kansas City thing because there's a thing here which you're involved in, and if I give a differing opinion, it may upset other people. So I'm just not participating. I mean,
I don't understand why you think that.
Yeah, we
have differing opinions on everything. Why is this the one spot where it's too much?
Well, because I don't like politics and sports, and the other thing is, you're very much the minority in this, and I don't want to be the voice for the majority because I'm not smart enough. So I'm just going to sit back and just wait for Sports Flash.
I am going to say very simply, as I said, and I will hold on to this until say, hey, listen, you bring me a good argument to go the other direction, I'm fine. But I believe that you should do a thing because I believe that's what patriotism should be and looks like. That ain't it, boss. That's not how this works. We're different people with different opinions and different viewpoints. So a state governor threatening to make it harder for a state program to succeed because they didn't do the thing I like them to do the way that I want them to do it is performative politics, and it's bad. It's it. It's performative politics, and it's bad. This is throwing red meat to his supporters in an election year. That's all it is, and it's beyond transparent. It is crystal clear. It's not even thinly veiled. There's no veil at all. It is a red meat item to his supporters to go, look at I'm the good flag waving patriotic one. When Kim Mulkey went, who by the way is in your camp politically speaking, she's 100% in your camp. Just literally said, hey, it was a goof. We were out of our routine. We're in a different gym. We're on a stage where this game is being produced for entertainment, unlike any other game we've played in this year. We missed the time mark. What do you want? I agree. In the world of idealism, these two things are separate. But right here, they're not. And if they're not separate, it does us no good to pretend like they are so that we don't have a dust up. No. It is a thing. If he gets his way, if Jeff Landry gets his way, LSU's women's basketball at a point in time where this sport is at the most popular it has ever been in history goes downhill. Why?
Guys, stop on the stream and on the text line. He's taking this really seriously. You're not going to break him.
All right. You can try to kill this if you want. I'm not going to let it die.
It's not. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm supporting you. I'm saying they're not going to break you on this. They're trying.
No one's. First off, again, have at it. I want, for the record, this is where lines. I want this to be a conversation. I want you guys on the text line and on the phone line and on the. I want to talk because I want someone to present.
I'm not being mean when I say this, but this is just like bringing up the Clemson Sox. It's the same thing because
it's not.
This argument has happened many times, and there's not going to be solving of the debate.
Wait.
One's going to be on one side, one's going to be on the other side, and Clemson should never wear purple.
It's not, and here's why. Because it's always been the fans going, I'm not watching anymore. If you're going to kneel, I'm not watching. If you're going to do this, if you're going to write that on the court, I'm not watching. This is the first time that I can remember. This is the first time that a person in a position of direct power has said, I will make your lives more difficult if you don't do it my way. It's one thing if Bob and Joe say, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. Fine, don't watch it. That's on you. That's your decision. You're the customer. You can do that. This is the first time that somebody in a position of power has said, I will make your lives harder if you don't do it my way. And I have a real problem with that. That is a spot where not only does politics get involved in sports, politics actually pins sports down and impacts on the court stuff. It's not even because of my politics, we should do this before, after, during a game. This is directly, I will have, as a politician, a direct influence on the court of competition over the third most popular sporting team in the state of Louisiana. Yes, I got a problem with that.
Well, you were right. You're going to upset some people. You upset yourself.
I don't understand how people would not have a strong viewpoint on this one way or the other. I don't understand it.
I think for the most part, people care about what's going on around them and not in another state.
No. If that was true, we would never talk NFL football, would we? We'd never talk about the Chiefs.
We would. Do you know why? Because that's sports and that's
This
not
is,
politics.
do you not understand this is sports? This is a direct threat to the basketball team on the basketball floor. This is directly sports with an exclamation point at the end of it. Also, we haven't heard from Ray and Alonso thinks he died. And now we have RIP Ray on the stream. So that's interesting. That's fun. All right, let's take a break. Lonzo is going to very passionately but politically free do this sports flash.
Which is why I'm going to avoid certain stories. The Clemson Tiger baseball team took down, this is what we care about, USC Upstate 11-1 at Ford Field yesterday. Cam Canarella, Alden Matheson, Jacob Jarrell all hit 3 RBI nights, while Billy Barlow went 5 innings, giving up just 3 and 1 earned run, earning the win. Clemson will be on the road for a 3-game series at Notre Dame starting Friday afternoon. Philadelphia 76ers star Joel Embiid made an unexpected return from a meniscus injury in a 109-105 victory over the Thunder last night. Embiid finished the night with 24 points, 6 boards, 7 assists, and 3 steals. That's pretty good. I don't know if you knew that. The 76ers are now 27-8 when Embiid plays and 14-27 without him. Imagine that. You probably should hopefully keep him healthy. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for Wire to Wire right here on the Fan, Upstate. Did it with gusto, James. No politics. But with personality. And I'm not saying nothing for the Moles because I'm not participating in this conversation. Except for Ray. Man, come on, Ray. Let us know you're all right now. I don't feel bad about what I said, but you know, I'd be curious if Ray's good. You ain't making it on the air if you call, Ray. But still, I'd like to know. I'd like to know if you're good. You know, this also reminds me we haven't went through and unblocked people.
Oh, well, now
We need to unmark them,
I have a new project today.
so to speak. You're right, Nolan. Ray is more than an idea. He's a way of life for some. So the spirit of Ray will never die.
F's in the chat, boys. F's in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just leave that alone. So if you guys really believe in Ray and Ray's way of life, you need to make an I'm with Ray t-shirt and wear it proudly. And on the back, it should say hashtag stick to sports. That would imply knowing that you normally don't work that hard, and I can't believe that. You're a hardworking guy, dude. Whoever you may be.
And away we go. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan of State. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Rob Brown. It is the great one, Lonzo, and it is your turn to be a part of the show. The renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone is open for you at 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. The text line is available at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Nolan wrote into the show and said, quote, Ray was an honorable member of the Rob Brown Armada, a prestigious member of the Stick to Sports organization. Ray has existed since the beginning of the Rob Brown Show 4 years ago and has since passed on to a better sports program. You will not be forgotten. Again, we all are aware that the odds are that Ray just eventually gave up and left us, right?
The ghost.
He just exited the Armada. And I don't mean on to whatever is after this life. I just mean he was like, screw this, and pushed a different button on the radio.
He is now in another. He's now heckling God, saying stick to sports, God.
Incredible. Incredible. We were on the break last time around. Ray got brought up, and I said, we haven't heard from Ray in a while. And Lonzo just absolute blank expression went, maybe Ray died. And that was it. He was happy to just leave it just like that. And now our stream chat has just become a memoriam of a guy we didn't know. James said, was Ray Mark Ryan?
No. No. Mark Ryan legitimately loves sports. He does. So no, it was not Mark Ryan.
Oh man, spectacular. Well, rip Ray, either literally or metaphorically. You'll be missed, Ray. It was great to have you complaining about the show on a daily basis, but it's been a little while since we heard from Ray. Texter said, rip Ray t-shirts coming soon. Yes, now I just want to produce the I Stand With Ray t-shirts for the Rob Brown Show. We'll put the logo on the back and I Stand With Ray on the front. Rip Ray. We hardly knew ye. I mean that literally. All you ever did was text to complain about the show. Rip Ray. Hey, here's Rylan Griffin from the University of Alabama after getting the dub to move into the Final Four. And, of course, why wouldn't it play on the – well, I'll fix it. Maybe. I'll try to fix it. Anyway,
leave it alone, ghost of Ray. He was actually going to talk about sports.
I was going to talk about it. And then Ray screwed the pooch. Did I get it right?
It just felt like when the Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and lost the streak, he finally broke the streak. Like, I feel like Brock Lesnar today. He finally broke the streak. I think it was like, what? How many straight times we had?
21.
21 straight years?
Yeah, 21.
I feel like Brock Lesnar did when he beat Undertaker.
It's Coach Oates, Paul Heyman, just like, oh my God.
Yeah, he Paul Heyman,
yeah.
That's Coach Oates right there. So.
Nobody likes wrestling, Rob. Nobody likes it except Rylan Griffin, who just said that the breakthrough to the Final Four felt like Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker at WrestleMania, and Nate Oates is Paul Heyman. Nobody likes wrestling. John Kruk.
We got a tag match, ladder match. The Usos, who are twin brothers, going up against each other in a match. It's epic proportions. Yeet versus no yeet. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be great.
John Kruk.
100-something days or something like that. It's almost it's a historical reign.
Out
You got to
with the
appreciate
old and
that.
in with the new.
You're amazing. You are amazing.
He's on it, man.
I love it.
He's on it.
I love it. It's if let's put it this way: if it was a World Series game, if the Phillies aren't participating and wrestling was on, I'm watching wrestling.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
I love
Loyalty.
Attaboy. Wow.
No. Hey, Ray, if you're listening to us in the great beyond, just know John Kruk likes wrestling. That's, by the way, Ray, if I recall correctly, Ray was a baseball guy. Ray was a baseball guy before he moved on to whatever is after the Rob Brown show. Ray was a baseball guy, and here is noted MLB legend John Kruk saying, if the World Series is on and my team's not in it, I'm watching wrestling before the World Series. I believe the kids say, yeet. It's WrestleMania week, y'all. Can't wait. All right, let's get to another story. I want to go to NASCAR for just a minute. Why not? Embarrassed myself thoroughly in front of a bunch of NASCAR drivers yesterday. That was awesome. If you missed that story, go back to the beginning of the show at thefanupstate.com. Drop the podcast menu down, click on the Rob Brown Show, download and listen to the first hour on demand, and you will hear this story about how Rob tried to drag his fat into a NASCAR and could not fit.
So watching a NASCAR race will not remind you of the fact that you can't fit in the car and make you go, man, I can't watch this
still love NASCAR.
because you feel really bad about yourself and your inability to get in the vehicle?
I still love NASCAR. I'm never going to stop loving NASCAR.
Or will you celebrate all the short people?
I think there's a point in the life of every athlete. And I don't care if you are Michael Jordan or the dude that peaked in like college intramurals. I think there's a point where every athlete has to face the reality that your ability doesn't exist anymore. You don't have whatever made you that thing at that thing, right?
But then you can still dwell on, I used to be able to do that. People may not believe you, and that bothers you that people don't believe that you used to be able to do that. But you start the older you get, the more you cling to that. You can't do it anymore, and then people will goad you into, why aren't you doing it? Well, because I'm old.
Sure. I mean, we all have our Bruce Springsteen glory days moment for sure. For sure. But that still stands that everybody has that moment where they realize, like, I'm not elite anymore. My NASCAR dream died when I tried to squeeze my fat behind.
You mean like Kenny Omega? No longer elite?
Into a NASCAR, into a stock car, and I just couldn't do it. Try my best. Couldn't do it. And of course, doing it in front of not one, but two different NASCAR Cup Series drivers was amazing.
Were there any females there?
Yeah, there were like 4 or 5.
That makes it even worse.
Two from the team, 2 from the Swamp Rabbits, and 2 from Spire Motorsports, including one. Let me tell you, you ready to add to the nightmare fuel that will haunt me until I join Ray in whatever's next? One of them was the social media content director for Spire Motorsports. Guess what she was carrying around? Not 1, not 2, 3 different cameras to take shots of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits organization spending some time with their parent company, Spire and Spire Motorsports, which means that somewhere in the Spire Motorsports facility, somewhere out there, there's absolutely footage of me looking like a freaking dying trout trying to squeeze into a stock car.
You use that lyric, Feifel would have fit in that NASCAR. I'm just saying.
Unbelievable. Where was I going with this? Oh, a NASCAR story. So,
that's a good point. Guy on stream who I don't know who you are.
Yeah, it's my little brother. You can hold out. He said, I've been repeatedly told that you're on a diet. Listen, I'm down like 19 pounds, dude. I'm back under 250. It's been a minute since I was under 250. And I'm on my way to 240. All right? I'm getting married in like 5 months. I got to look good, or at least as close as good as I can get. I don't think y'all understand how tight these cars are, bro. There is no room. There's no room. Like, I feel like even had I gotten in the car, I'd have been having to like move fat folds around to like squeeze them into different spots in the seat. It was not good. All right.
The fact that you can still move fat folds around means you got a way to go.
You can grab a handful.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It is what it is. You can grab a handful. When I got out of the, when I say I got out, what I should say is when I got the half of me that did get in the car out of the car, the dude that was the director of the Spire Motorsports garage.
You mean when you got unstuck?
When I got unstuck and I extracted my lower extremities from the vehicle, the guy that runs the Spire Motorsports garage walked over and he goes, "Hey man, that's why there's no more fat guys in NASCAR." And I realized there's not. There's no more fat guys in NASCAR. Used to be fat guys in NASCAR. Used to be a fat guy named Daryl who was out there spinning laps in his whatever car it was in 1994.
Why am I picturing that guy going, "Try it again there, Tubby"?
Yeah. Looked me in the face, not a moment of hesitation, like I was going to be totally fine with it, and went, you're why there's no more fat guys in NASCAR. And it was like, the thing was, in most other situations, if somebody looked you in the face and they were like, "Hey, you're a fat piece of crap," you'd be like, "Outside parking lot right now. Me and you, I'm about to show you what this fat boy can
all right.
do."
The thing that's bothering me here is Rob Brown can usually outcool it. He can turn it into something cool to where it doesn't look or sound embarrassing. It sounds like you wasn't able to outcool it.
There was what? I was hanging out of the side of a car like I was a freaking animal in a trap. Nothing I could do. I had to summon every ounce of strength in my body just to get myself out of the window. How do you come back from that?
Did you work up a sweat trying to get out of the car?
Yes! Dude, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. It was humiliating, dude. So I get out of the car, finally. Yes, the two NASCAR drivers are over on the side laughing. Why wouldn't they be? Even friend of the show, Corey LaJoy, is laughing at this. I walk up, the dude walks up to me. And again, if I'm in a bar and a guy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, fat ass," I'm going to be like, outside right now. We have to, I might get whooped, but we have to fight over this. He walked up and goes, "That's why there's no fat guys in NASCAR." And I was like, yeah, I get it. As a clearly fat guy, I get it. I understand now. That makes sense.
Your response should have been, "Dago."
The president of the team, my guy Timmy V, looks over and he goes, "Yeah, I'm not even trying. Not even trying."
See, that's the move. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, you know what I get? That's what I get for when he goes, "Anybody want to get in the car?" Not a second. I was like, hell yeah. Drop the stone cold on him. Hell yeah! I want to get in that car. So we let the girls go first. The girls all get in, get out, no problem. There's one dude that works for Spire that jumped in before me. Little, I want to say little guy, smaller guy, no problem. And then he turned to me and he's like, "You were excited. You ready, big boy?" I should have known when he called me big boy. I should have known. What he was really saying was, "Are you sure, Fatty Magoo? Are you sure, you tub of lard? Do you want me to get some butter to rub on the window of this thing so you can get through it? You want me to go, there's a tub of racing oil back there. You want to maybe lather up first, fella? Good luck." I should have known, but I had to go for it. Had to go for it. Nope. Not a chance. Humiliating. Anyway, we got Hate Nas Mario coming up in the next segment to talk NBA. So before we get there, let me talk about this NASCAR thing real quick. During the last restart of the race this weekend, Denny Hamlin, who would go on to eventually win the race, committed what was absolutely a restart violation. Slammed on the accelerator before he crossed into the restart zone. That's a rules violation. Elton Sawyer is the rules violation expert for NASCAR. Here's what he said.
It's a bang call, Mike. And as I had the opportunity to look, Sunday night as well as multiple times yesterday, first and foremost, the 11 is the control vehicle. They have earned the right to be in that position. They've won the battle off pit road. They put themselves in a position to be able to control the restart. And as I looked at it yesterday, again, multiple times, there's no doubt he rolled early. And, again, it's a bang, bang call. It's at the end of the race. We're a live sporting event. We don't have the luxury of a timeout and go to the sideline and review it and make that call. If this happens at lap 10 or 50 or 300, the call could have been different. So I wouldn't, if I'm a competitor, I wouldn't be playing that game every week.
Dude, here's the problem I have with that. You can review it. That's literally one of the few things NASCAR has a review for. That's one of the few things they can replay. This guy's just wrong. Like, he works for NASCAR. You're just wrong. And here's how I know you're wrong, because here's what Denny Hamlin had to say about it on his podcast yesterday.
I concede that on TV, it looks worse than what it felt like in the car. Now, a lot of the reason of that is that when I'm restarting the race, I'm not looking at the flagman. I'm not looking at my dash. I'm not looking at anything. All I'm looking at is my mirror and my side peripheral. So all I'm doing is trying to time at what speed is the outside car going. And then I'm looking in the mirror to see, okay, how close is the car behind me? And clearly, Joey is laying back, and I could see him start to creep towards me. At that point, I'm thinking in my head, I'm not going to let him roll to me, and then as soon as the gap closes, take off, because then he's got an advantage. He's going to be pushing me. He's going to pull out of line. He dictated the restart, not me. And the same with the 19. I saw him creeping forward, and just understand that every mile per hour that you start quicker, you're that same mile per hour faster all the way until we lift. So all the way to down the front straightaway, you've got that 1 mile per hour advantage. So I don't want to give up the advantage of being the leader. So at that point, I see the restart zone. I'm coming off of turn 4, and all I'm doing is looking mirror side, mirror side. When I see him starting to creep, I'm like, I take off. So I don't see where I'm at in the zone. And so I concede definitely that it is a few feet early.
Dude, that's a lot of words to say. Yeah, I cheated. Yeah, I broke the rules. I cheated. It's a lot of words from NASCAR to say, yeah, we blew it. It is what it is. Race deciding outcome. My guy clearly, even real time, it's very clear he violated the rules. We absolutely have a way to mitigate that. We could have stopped those cars on the back street with a yellow, reset the field with the 11 at the back, and re-ran them. But basically, we decided this guy's our moneymaker. This guy's the most controversial driver. We needed to get there. Denny Hamlin goes on the pod and go, yeah, reason. But yeah, I definitely broke the rules. Like, we got to get this right, dudes. We got to. You can't not get this right. You are talking in a spot where the playoffs are decided by who wins races and not. Joey Logano could have won a race there. Anybody from second to fourth, maybe fifth, could have won that race. And you've got NASCAR going, oh, you can't do anything about it, when we all know they could have. And you've got Denny Hamlin saying, yeah, I most certainly, most definitely broke the rules. This is the kind of stuff that makes you look bad. This is the kind of stuff that turns people off. When you are not just having a mistake, but then you don't own the mistake. The easy thing would have been come out, if you're NASCAR, come out the next day or two and gone, yeah, we blew it. We blew it. That's on us. We apologize to Joey and everybody from second back who could have had a chance to win this race. That's on us. We blew it. But instead, oh, no one can do about it. Yes, there is. We know there is.
There's a perfect cut you could have played right there. I'm just.
This was on me. My bad.
I'm about to take that from you.
Yeah, I got it.
Because you keep missing opportunities.
Nobody's perfect.
I'll just end that one right there. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, the executive producer of Bet for the Cycle, Saturdays noon to 4 on the BetQL Network, and NBA analyst hating ass Mario joins us. We talk a little NBA because the play-in races right now are wild. And there was a big bit of news last night for one of the teams that's trying to get locked in. We'll talk about that with Mario Herron when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away for just a minute, get Mario locked in. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We can talk about Rashee Rice.
Yeah, because I'm not smart, and yeah. So I forgot that we weren't on Nolan. No D on his name, and yeah, that was pretty dumb, and not taken away from the seriousness of the situation. But why would he think a Corvette could beat a Lamborghini? I have never, been in a Lamborghini. But I may or may not have a car that might be considered a fast car. If a Lamborghini pulls up next to me, I'm pulling over in the right lane and slowing down. I'm just saying.
It's like it's Rashee Rice, much like the Washington Wizards. There's no D. Bang! Nailed it. That's a good offensive joke for the NBA. Yes, Mario's on the stream. What's up, buddy?
That was his segue.
What's up? How we doing?
A segue even in my real life. That's how good I am at this job. What's the cap today, pal? What are we rocking on the hat today?
So this is gonna get sappy. So this is a hat for a foundation for my friend that passed in college. So a little shout out to him.
Happy Mario, you're allowed to have feelings.
Well, that's cool.
I'm
Really.
allowed to make fun of him.
You gonna make fun of his feelings on that?
No, that's no.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Listen, we're all in mourning for Ray right now. It's all right. It's all right for Mario to have feelings.
and your inability to get inside of a race car. There's also that.
I am very sour about
Okay, I wanna back you up on that. I've done that before, and I'm like not like a very big guy, like a small frame, and it was like hard for me to get in. It was very.
So he's saying he's not like your size, and
Bro,
he,
Mario's
was
in shape.
able-
He's a twig.
No, this was like I was like 18. I was like 150 soaking wet. Like I was like a small guy. I was like 6'1". So like it was
Yeah.
hard to. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Sure, Joe. That's how that works. Cars made by the same company, they've got to go the same. Well, speedometers go to the same. So street racing is a crime. I am not condoning it. I'm also not saying that I've never done it, but and may or may not have never lost, but so maybe, possibly. Back in my younger days, there's a thing that goes around Columbus, Ohio, 270. It's just a big loop. Yeah. Don't ask me how I know that.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown to the great one, Lonzo, joined now on the stream, which you can watch all 4 hours, all 5 days of the week, except when I take a day off because I wanted to. On Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Twitch.
Talent goes, yeah, you know what? I'm not here tomorrow.
Yeah, and not only did I say I'm not here tomorrow, but I said I'm not here tomorrow because I'm going to stay up late going to sit in a luxury box to watch the Celtics put the butt whooping on the Charlotte Hornets. By the way, I didn't wear it today because it's got a wine stain on it. Shocking, I know. Got a dope Hornets hoodie at the game.
Did you get it for free or did you buy it?
No. So this is really cool. First off, Spectrum Center, phenomenal NBA arena. Like, of all I've been to, one of the best. It is spectacular. But at every game, they do a merch deal of the night where they do like a really big discount on something. And at the game on Monday night, it was this great hoodie. It's got the old Hugo the Hornet logo on it, like the OG Hugo logo. It's the Hornets teal, but with white sleeves and a patch on both shoulders like a Letterman's jacket.
It's also known as our team stinks and we got to push merch.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
That's what it is.
Whatever it takes. Mario Herron, aka Hating Ass Mario. He's the executive producer of the world's greatest baseball gambling show, As Long As You Ask My Mom, Bet for the Cycle, which airs from noon to 4 every Saturday. He is also a producer / host / analyst / insider, whatever you want to call him, for the BetQL network at large. He is Mario Herron here on the show. What's up, big fella?
What's up? I would just like to say, in terms of gear from the 90s, Charlotte Hornets has to be up there. Like, if it's not one, it's like top 3.
Top tier, without a doubt. I will say, like, I will wear gear from any of the teams that we cover. Doesn't make me a fan. It just means that I will support the teams that we cover here in the area. The Hornets make the list of gear of a team that I would wear even if I'm not in the market, because the OG Hugo stuff in that color scheme, it's elite, bro.
It's elite, and they're not good enough where, like, you can't judge if you wear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I have an old style, like, Spurs when they did, like, the different colors, and I wore that when Webby got drafted, and someone hit me with the bandwagon. I was like, okay, relax.
Yeah, no, the Hornets are not good enough to have. The Hornets haven't been good enough since Baron Davis played there to have a bandwagon. Like, that's how throwback it is. All right, let's talk a little shooty hoops here with my guy, Hating Ass Mario, on the Rob Brown Show.
Can I ask a quick question? I see a Chicago Bears helmet in the background there.
Yes.
Who's your quarterback?
It's Caleb Williams. Live and
Is
die
it?
by it, baby.
Okay,
It's Caleb
we'll
Williams,
see.
and it's no, I love that, Lonzo. Keep coming in with that. People, like, there's levels of being so good, and Caleb Williams has hit this so good where everyone wants to call him underrated now or overrated now. That's the level he's at. So I'll have fun with that. I'll have a good time.
Your former quarterback went to my favorite college team, so
Listen, he's salty that they had the audacity to let go of a Buckeye. That's what it is.
Wow. Okay.
So why are you diagonal on the stream now, Lonzo? Why are you giving me vertigo on the stream?
I'm not on this side, dude.
You are. Yeah, because you are leaned over too. Mario, he's diagonal on the stream right now, right?
He was, and then you straightened out a little bit, but you were
What?
a little bit, yeah.
What did I go like that?
All right, we gotta get to basketball. All right, Joel Embiid. Almost. It is WrestleMania week. Almost like a surprise return to the Sixers last night. I was on You Better You Bet with PJ Glasser, and we were talking about this, and like everybody wanted to throw money at the Thunder money line last night to get the upset dub over the 76ers with Embiid back. And then all he does is come back and go like 24-9-7 after being out for 2.5 months. I was real curious. I went and looked. With Joel Embiid, this team is like 28-7. Without him, they're like 14-28 or some stupid number like that. With Joel Embiid back, assuming ring rust isn't a big problem for him, do the 76ers punch back up to the top of the East?
You know, it's the route for him's hard, but in terms of Embiid being back, like you said, like the stats last night was ridiculous. He even had a huge steal in that game late last night. Under a minute left, that was like a prime Embiid moment where it looked like, all right, once this guy gets in NBA shape, once this guy gets, you know, and they say he's healthy now, but once he's like 100% healthy and good to go and can play more than 30 minutes in a game, he's going to be a problem. Them shooting back up to the East, I just don't really see it. I think they're going to be stuck in that play-in spot. I think they are. And it stinks because for them, they're going to have to face right as of right now. And, you know, barring things change, I don't really see them changing. They're going to face the Miami Heat in the first round in the play-in. Not the playoffs, the freaking play-in. They're going to be right there. So they're going to face the Heat. The winner of loser of that's going to absolutely just the loser's going to destroy the Bulls or the Hawks. I'm a Bulls fan. I'll say the Bulls, they're going to absolutely destroy them. And right now, Rob, I think it's whoever wins the 2 and the 7 or the 1 versus 8 in the Eastern Conference, those two teams are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think if you're the Cavs, Magic, Knicks, or Pacers, thanks for showing up. Thanks for playing. You made it to the playoffs. Add to your resume, coaches. Add to your resume, players. It simply doesn't matter. It's those 4 teams. It's the Heat, it's the Sixers, Celtics, Bucks. Those teams determine the Eastern Conference. Everyone else kick rocks. I included the New York Knicks.
All right, let's jump over to the West for a minute because last Saturday you asked Cody Decker and I about the Golden State Warriors getting into or missing out on the play-in game. So I will turn that around and now ask you the exact same question. Deck and I both said absolutely 0% shocking if they don't get in. Draymond keeps going further and further off the deep end. It has very clearly started to impact Steph Curry, who after his most recent ejection, I thought Steph was personally going to go waste Draymond in the locker room for it. This team, to me, is under pressure, and they are crumbling because of it. That's why I think that they could absolutely miss. I think they're sitting, 2-3 games up for the final play-in spot, but we got a couple of weeks left. Do you think there's a chance that the Dubs dynasty ends with a whimper and they miss the play-in tournament?
As of right now, I would say no because they've won 5 straight. They had a huge win against the Mavs last night where they kind of did like a weird thing in their lineup, right? Trace Jackson-Davis started for them and actually played really, really well. He had like a drive on Gafford where he was going in the paint, and I was sitting there going, all right, at some point his stuff's going to get sent to the moon. And then he like banged it home, and even Gafford was standing there like, I can't believe he went for a dunk. Like, like, did he really think like he could do that?
He couldn't hear what I said and had the wrong button on because
you said no, they're going, and he played the Boo soundtrack on the background. Lonzo hates the Dubs. Hates the Dubs.
Well, okay, why? They're like the most likable dynasty. Like they are the most likable dynasty.
By who? I don't know anybody who likes them.
As soon as Durant left, they were very likable. I'll give you before Durant and after Durant. I feel like they've been very, very likable.
I have a problem with a guy who chews on his binky all through the game, and then when he gets mad, he decides to throw it out into the crowd. I have a problem with that. I mean, put your binky away and become an adult, which is one of Rob's favorite sayings. Yeah, I got a problem with that. I do. I don't like Steph Curry or Curry, whatever his name is, and I cannot stand Golden State, and except for Draymond Green, he's all right.
All right, that's fair.
No, it's not.
I get it, but dude, Curry's so likable. Curry's so fun to watch. He changed basketball. Klay Thompson, very, very likable. Came back from 2 awful knee surgeries. Played really, really well. Helping win a championship. Like they're a likable team.
All right, So
Have fun.
and this is I've been accused of being a contrarian, and it's not true. I don't like Steph Curry.
You can do this, Lonzo. I believe in you.
Listen, he's from around here somewhere. I mean, a lot of people around here like him because of went to Davidson, wherever that is, and so I don't like him. He makes me not want to buy submarine sandwiches.
Wow.
Yeah, he just he annoys me in every way. He walks on the screen and I'm just immediately like ticked. I don't know why. I can't stand him.
I've never heard that about Steph Curry. You're the first. You are literally the first person I've ever heard hate Steph
I also
Curry.
may or may not have lost a bet when they beat LeBron and had to wear a dress on the air. I may or may not, and that has nothing to do with any of it.
If Mario and Deck and I had to start hating athletes based on bets we've lost and embarrassments we've suffered, we just wouldn't like sports anymore.
By the way, Joe, I know where Davidson is. It was a joke.
All right. So Dubs, you say Dubs in. Are they getting in at the 10? Are they getting in as the last spot?
Yeah, they get in at the 10. They have a big, like I said, they won 5 in a row. They have a big game against the Rockets tomorrow at the Rockets. So that's absolutely going to determine a lot. If they win that one, I think it's officially sealed for them. I think they know that as well. They're in at that 10 spot. Now, can they beat the Lakers? We'll see. We'll see. But, win or lose that game or in the play-in, I don't see them making it out of the play-in. And I think it's officially the end. Like, officially, at some point, Dunleavy has to look at that roster and go, it's been fun. It's been great. Been a fun ride. We have Prime Curry kind of still in there. Let's actually do something with it.
Lakers Warriors right now would be the bottom play-in game 9-10 and 9-10 if it ends today. What to you is the weight? What is the importance of a Steph v. LeBron one game, loser goes home, and it kind of feels like, unless one of these teams does a miraculous offseason, it kind of feels like whoever loses that game is basically going to see that team's, if we want to call it dynastic for LA, dynastic era come to its conclusion, at least in its modern form. How much weight would a Bron v. Steph one and done play-in series mean to the NBA?
Oh, it's enormous. And it's, you kind of mentioned it too. It's the official, not even loser goes home, loser ends the run. Like that's what it kind of feels like. Like if the Lakers lose, LeBron's run in LA seems like it's over. If Curry loses, then it's like the Splash Brother era is over. The Draymond Green era is over. It seems like that's how much weight that this game has. If it were to happen right now, it looks like it's going to happen. But I also challenge that too at the same time, Rob. Like if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, what does one play-in tournament win mean to you? And then you go beat the Kings? And then you're going to go get swept in the first round? Did that really establish something for you for the future? Same thing with the Warriors. If let's just say you win out in that and then you go and face the Nuggets and then you get your butts whooped. Does that really scream to you the future's coming? There's a second wave of inspiration of winning titles coming. I know that game's going to have a lot of weight, but I think winner or loser of it, both teams are in the same spot of we got to do something because right now our future is and if we want to do something to not have that happen anymore, we got to move some guys, we got to move some stuff, and if you're the Lakers, you got to get some draft picks.
Talk to me, staying in the West for just a minute. Dallas is at 45-30. They're 7.5 games back of Denver at this point, but they're only 2 games back of the Clippers right now. There's a pretty steep drop off between 3 to 4. You've got the Nuggets out front, the T-Wolves and the Thunder both a half game back. Then the Clippers at 5.5, Mavericks and Pelicans both at 7.5. Right now, gun to head, you got to pick one between the 4-seed Clippers, the 5-seed Mavs, the 6-seed Pelicans. Which of those 3 teams has the best playoff run in them?
Mavericks right now. And if you would have asked me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said Clippers. But right now, you can't ignore that in the month of March, the defensive rating for the Clippers was 26th in the NBA. And suddenly everyone on that roster thinks that as soon as the playoffs hit, we can just turn on a switch and everyone is scared of us in the Western Conference. I don't think anyone's scared of them. And the when I watch the Clippers play, they just look like they just simply do not care right now. And I don't trust teams that do that, especially in a very packed conference. And when I watch the Mavs, the way that Luka's playing right now, Luka's a top 3 player in the NBA right now, and you could make an argument he's not 2 or 3. Like and this year it's a welcoming argument. He's so unstoppable, and we've seen him take a team to the Western Conference, to a pretty heavy conference, and at that time he had a pretty good sidekick in Jalen Brunson. Well, he's got an even better sidekick in Kyrie Irving, who has playoff experience, who's had for Kyrie standards, off the court has been extremely good. On the court, he's even been even better. So, those teams, I'm sorry to pick your Pelicans, but I think it's trusting Luka that can take over a game and can single-handedly win you a series. Out of those 3 teams, I would choose the Mavs.
I honestly, I don't. I mean, I hate it as a Pelicans fan, as an NBA guy. I don't. Flipping back over to the East for just a minute, the Celtics have put a dozen games between them and second place. They clinched the East like 3.5 weeks before the season ended. It's kind of ridiculous. They are 32-3 at home. At this point, as much as I like some of these, I like the young Orlando team. I want to like the Bucks. I, to this day, still don't understand what the hell they're doing, bringing Doc Rivers in to blow that thing apart. There's some teams I like in the East. I like the Sixers with Joel Embiid back. My man coming off a 2.5-month break with a torn meniscus and dominates the Thunder in his first game back. But at this point, and I know this is kind of weak, how the hell do you not pick the Celtics to go to the NBA Finals right now?
It's incredibly hard not to. And the people that say, well, Tatum's never done it before. Tatum's never done it. I've heard that. Hearing that again yesterday. But didn't he, correct me if I'm wrong, he made it to an NBA Finals. Like, he made it there. It's not like he's never been. Like, he's made it there. It's incredibly hard not to pick him. And even when you look at like some of the advanced stuff, like it's just insane. Like, they're number 1 in offensive rating. They're 3rd in defensive rating. They're number 1 in net rating by a pretty wide margin. And it's incredibly hard not to take them. They have one of the best top 2 players in the NBA. Their defense is amazing. Their offense is spectacular. Just health can kind of screw them over in that. I think if you're in the Eastern Conference and you think otherwise, then you're really believing in what Doc Rivers has been building post All-Star break. And I get it. They're 11th in defensive rating since post All-Star break. And Dame's obviously special. And Giannis obviously special. But I still think they can top them. The team I'll accept any argument at any point in time is the Miami Heat. I will always accept the Miami Heat. They've always done something. They've always caused chaos. Eric Spoelstra looks at the Boston Celtics and he laughs. He laughs in their face because I have such a good scheme to screw up everything you do. That's the only team I feel confident and feel really, really comfortable in going, yeah, they're the team that can stand in the way, and the Celtics go, hey, party's not happening in Boston.
By the way, Jason Tatum in the finals 2022 averaged 21.5, 7 assists and 7 boards through the 6 games. Like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Nobody has done it until they do it. That's how it works. You have to do it once or you've never done it. I've never liked that argument. Now, experience can certainly help a guy that's been there 2, 3, 4 times to where that series just feels like a normal series to them. That certainly helps with the comfort level, but nobody's done it until they've done it. Hayden as Mario Herron joins us here. He is going to, from this point forward, be joining us on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. to talk NBA ball. And once we get through the NBA finals, we'll shift it over to talking baseball and off-season football and who the hell, I don't know, whatever else we get to. All right. I was actually setting Mario up to tell us what we're going to talk about on Saturday, and then my brain exploded for just a minute. Hey, Mario, what are we going to talk about on Saturday?
Saturday, we obviously got the big Final Four that we're going to hit hard and hit home. Also, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Mookie Betts is actually pretty damn good in the MLB. So we're going to hit about how spectacular he's been, if there's even a little bit of value to throw on him for NL MVP of the year. We're going to hit some awards. We're going to hit why the Astros is dynasty officially over. 1-5 start. It looks pretty over. And we're going to hit the red hot Yankees that we've been pretty high on. So hit a bunch of stuff. Hitting that, and also we have the NFL draft around the corner. And Rob Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a quarterback that you think is going to be a little bit better than Caleb Williams.
Listen, dude, I appreciate you teasing it that way. I appreciate you keeping it in the dark like that. It's Jaden Daniels, and everyone who's ever heard me pick up a microphone knows exactly who the hell you're talking about. Jaden Daniels is going to be Lamar, maybe better. Like that dude's going to be. I am going to, in about 5 years from now, all right, we're going to be doing our next show together, Hate and Ask Mario, and you're going to look back and go, golly, I really wish Ryan Poles would have listened to Rob Brown because you nailed it.
Lonzo, you look disgusted.
Well, this Stewart guy on the stream told me to shut up and called me an idiot, and I looked him up, and he's a molecular genetics technical manager. So he's right. I am an idiot.
Hayden Ask Mario is going to be joining us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. to talk NBA. Appreciate you, big fellow. See you Saturday.
Hey, have a good one, guys. Always a pleasure. Lonzo, you look good.
Not as good as you, Mario. And you know what? We both look better than Rob.
It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the fan upstate.
Dude is really a molecular genetics whatever.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
it could be a
Everything
fake
on the internet's
profile.
true.
Yeah, that's true. It could be a fake profile.
Mario,
That's a hard one to
appreciate you, big
cover.
dog. Thanks for coming by, my man.
Of course.
See you, buddy. Where's the right button? There it is. And that one, and we're good. A molecular biologist? Is that what she said?
Yeah, I don't know though. He's only got 219 friends, and you know.
Well, who the hell's having a
Actually, I'm looking, and I think it's a fake account.
There it is.
It was pretty funny though.
It is very
By the way, I just wanted to point out, in case you were wondering, I can say molecular. I mean, you know.
I caught some of the last segment. I thought the guest was sitting in the studio. He sounded that good.
It's mixing.
Give him credit.
Okay, I appreciate it. If you would have listened really close to the first segment, he went weird for a second, and his microphone did something. No. But it's that time of day when everyone's already at work, so they're not going to call around this time. So no.
I just wanted to know if you'd had a chance to test out the phones.
I have not.
To be working now, so at your leisure. But it sounded really good. Audio quality.
Hey, if you see Rob, tell him to come back in the studio, because you know we're back now.
I'm back.
Did I time that well enough that it hit you right when you put
Yes.
your headphones on?
Yes. Texas said the Hawks have won 5 of the last 6. In 2 of those games, they beat the Celtics. Murray is playing fantastic. Plus, throw in Trae Young when he is back. I actually like what Atlanta has built the last couple of years. I think we've talked about that on the show before. I kind of like what the Hawks are building right now. They've made a couple of moves. They've sent some guys out. I kind of understood it to some degree. I actually like what the Hawks are building, and the Hawks are in a playing spot right now. They are currently sitting 10th And they are, I think a half game behind the Bulls for 9. The problem you bump into is you're not doing better than 9. You could theoretically, the Bulls are locked in. I think the Hawks got to get one more to get locked in to a play-in spot at the least. But the best you're going to do, I think, is passing them because you are still a full, 6 games behind Philly, who just got Joel Embiid back. You know the Heat get better as you get closer and into the playoffs. And you're just too far back. You're full, 8.5 games back of the Pacers in the 6th seed, further back than that of the Knicks, Magic, Cavs, Bucks, and C's, who are locked into the 1 seed right now. So I actually really like what Atlanta's doing. I very much think if the play-in tournament happened today, the problem you're going to bump into is you're catching the Heat in round 1. And I do agree with Mario. Coach Spo brings his best when the playoffs get here. And I think Miami's just got a little bit too much for the Hawks. But I like where that team's going. The whole gimmick is you just play it over.
Yeah, well, no,
That's
a lot of, will you let me finish today? And I wanted to let you finish. So, I mean, there's that. All right.
Say hello to the bad guy.
All right. Let's find out what's Xing because Rob knows everything about it. The first thing that's Xing, is Sean Kemp.
I saw Sean Kemp trending. I saw, who was it? Rex Chapman tweeting about Sean Kemp earlier. Did he die?
No,
Okay.
From what I can tell is all of his kids decided to tweet about him at once. That's the joke.
Okay. I saw Rex Chapman put up this thing on his Twitter account about him recruiting Sean Kemp to come play with him at Kentucky and putting up a bunch of pictures and videos of Sean Kemp being Sean Kemp back in the day. And I'm not going to lie, I saw that right before the show started, and I thought, did Sean Kemp die? That guy was in his prime. Sean Kemp was an absolute freak of nature. If you played NBA Jam TE like I did back in the day, the tournament edition, Sean Kemp was a monster. James said Sean Kemp and Ray dying. My heart can't take it.
Sean
today.
Kemp is not dead as far as we know.
As far
Stop
as we
it.
know.
Stop it. All right. The next thing that's Xing is WWE speed.
I like about 99% of what WWE is doing right now. This might be the 1%.
2 hours from now, the debut on X of WWE.
I mean, let's be real. We're gonna
speed.
watch.
Yes,
Right, we're gonna watch.
that's why I'm continuing to say this. Like, don't you want to know? I mean, at least the initial one.
Yeah. So my here's the problem that I have. The concept of speed is what, 3-minute matches?
3-minute
Like,
matches.
3-minute matches.
Allegedly, we don't
Number
know.
one.
We haven't seen the first one yet. so.
Number one, is it going to be superstars or is it going to be like they used to do with 305 Live, right? Or was it 195 Live?
I think it was 205 Live.
Exit I-85.
305 Live is a little bit bigger.
24/7 365 Live. Whatever it was that R-Truth said it was.
What's up? What's up, man?
How are they going to do this, right? Because if it's superstars, I might be more inclined to cheer. If you're just going to use the NXT cast-offs to give them something to do, less interested. Is it going to be, because it's the other thing is you can't throw like first 3, it's McIntyre, Sami Zayn in a number 1 contenders match, and then you have one of those guys eat a pin in 3 minutes. So is it going to be a scoring system?
There's going to be a belt. There's going to be a 3-minute
But
belt.
how do
So
they
I mean,
dictate who gets it? Because to me, if you're doing 3-minute matches, you can't have superstars laying down for a pin in 3 minutes. That kind of takes away from what anything they do on Raw, SmackDown, or premium live events. So is it going to be and also a scoring system wrestling match is probably not going to juice up a lot of people. I'm just curious to see how they structure this.
well, whatever they're doing, it was trending. So I mean, and we'll find out if it's any good or not in a couple hours because supposedly it's going to be on at noon today on
I'm
the
going to
X.
give it a shot. It's WrestleMania week. I'll watch at this point just about anything.
Professional wrestling is cool.
I am just guessing that Triple H and Creative decided to call it a 3-minute match just for all the jokes that we're seeing on our stream right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not above such a thing. All right, one more. Hashtag DND5E is trending.
So 5E was the most recent version of it, and they changed a lot, and a lot of fans were not super thrilled about what Wizards of the West Coast, who is the production company that makes D&D, were putting into the books.
Isn't it Wizards of the East Coast?
No, it's West.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Maybe South Coast?
Wizards of a Coast. Woods is one of the groups of wizards from some mages. Okay, I'm a dork. Point is, I believe we're not too far off from either a re-release with an updated version of 5e, or they're going to full-fledged 6e it. I have no idea. But the nerdy DM in me is very excited to find out.
By the way, it's Wizards of the Coast.
They just try.
So it's not.
There's no direction anymore.
There's no specific. I don't think there ever was. That's why you threw me when you said that. I was like, what?
Wizards of the West Coast is just what I'm going to call the Lakers if they happen to win a playoff series this year. Hey, that's it for us. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday. When we come back tomorrow, Rashad Beard joins us to talk Carolina Panther football. We'll get into MLB power rankings after 1 week of the season, and it's WrestleMania week. Fight Club with the great Lonzo, all coming up on tomorrow's edition to the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. See ya. Yeah. A belt for who's the best in under 3 minutes. Finally, a title I can win. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, Joey B. Self-deprecating humor is the best kind of humor. I don't care what anybody says. That's good. That's really good. Okay.
Unless you were being serious, and then
in which case,
congratulations.
Sorry, I guess.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Either way, you get a belt, you win.
R.I.P. Ray.
All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. Spread the show. Help us grow the show. Have a lovely rest of your day. Go watch some baseball. It's on TV today, like all day. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show. Goodbye.